Do you remember 17? You and I, we ran in all the same scenes. Always watched you, thought you never noticed me. Boy, how wrong I'd be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first night of the OPQ, of course, of our stream games. I'm joined here by Blue Panda once again. Computer room actually, but we're here to see who is going to represent our region at the wildcard tournament to try and compete with Chiefs to take that LCP spot.
Yeah, look, I suppose it's better than commentating from the Tears of Guthick's cave. But yeah, I mean, with the wildcards heading up and to our brothers and sisters currently covering the wildcard qualifier at the moment, there are some hot games going on. So for these teams coming out OS, we are going to need to bring some of the best players we've got.
Yeah, absolutely, and some of those players might be who we see today. Of course, there's some big returning names that we have seen in the past, the likes of Praedyth, the likes of Halo, and then on the other side we have Poltron, Fido, and Raze, two of which have gone over to the PCS in the past and competed. Of course, Poltron, most recently the coach of the Chiefs over in the LCP, so it's going to be interesting to see his return coming back to playing here in OS to see if he can maybe even conquer his former team.
Yeah, look, it is definitely going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least, not just in terms of the connotations, but we are getting to see the expansion of the RGCU, of course, the Rich Gang Cinematic Universe making its comeback after what must be nearly 20 years close to, so it's good to see that, you know, that era of Oceanic League of Legends history has not been forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course that is going to be the side of which Poltron is the captain of. On the other side of things, the Outcasts, and kind of a nice fitting name because a bunch of them never having even had any competitive experience whatsoever. So coming in top 4 here of the region already, which is very, very impressive to say the least. And I mean, for me, the heavy hitters of both teams, you have to look towards that bot lane. AD carry role here in OS tends to be one of our strongest, and you have Praedyth on one hand, one of the best in the region, up against Raze, who, again, one of the best in the region. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how those two go head-to-head. I know Praedyth has been spamming solo queue recently. He's been getting very, very good at the likes of the Unara, and so it's going to be interesting to see, does he get those kind of champs? Can he make them work here in the OPQ?
Well, I mean, if the LCP, what we've been covering over the last few weeks, is anything to go by, Varus and Unara tend to be a bit of a perma-ban. They've just been such an oppressive bot lane to play into as the game progresses. While the lane phase might suffer a little bit, especially if the other team picks Jhin for some reason, it just seems to hit this tipping point where Unara is just unstoppable. The same for Varus, and in the hands of a capable AD carry with the two that we've got today. I mean, you look back at OS's history, you can find scarce few who have been better.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see. And there's a lot of pocket picks when you're in these kind of tournaments, right? Not a lot of people going to, when you see in the LCP, you know, okay, we're going to have Zinzel versus Pantheon again. Here in the mid lane, it's Azir versus Talia. I think when you get into the more regional leagues, people are much more willing to pick up the champs that they are familiar with, that they are comfortable on. So that leads to, I mean, we might even have Poltron's Shaco coming back. It was a champion he one-tricked when he first got to high elo. We'll see if he brings that out here in a competitive environment. And we should be heading into the pick bans soon, I do believe, and hopefully get that underway and see what we're going to be brought to here. Oh, what does that even mean? What we're going to see here in the OPQ.
It's amazing what happens when I'm not in the studio with them. I mean, you talk about these pocket picks, and with the wildcard qualifier going on at the moment, you look at some of those pocket picks, the likes of, South Asia, India, Pakistan, they really love their Vayne bot lane. They've been playing it all year. I've been keeping an eye on the Legends Ascent tournament. They will bring it out at the drop of a hat. We're seeing. They were a region that were playing Mordekaiser before Mordekaiser started making its way back into that meta this year. So. Look, it's going to be interesting to see, how the Oceanic pocket picks stack up against those wildcard regions going into, that crunch time, making sure that they can potentially knock out one of those teams for that slot.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you've had a look at the rosters. You've seen some of the games that have been going on throughout the last couple of weeks. Give me your prediction here on this one. Obviously, this is the lower bracket, so whoever gets the loss here will be eliminated. Whoever wins will go on tomorrow to verse the loser of the winners bracket final. So I want to hear your prediction. Obviously, best of 5. Do we go all the way? Who wins it?
I mean, look, it can be so hard to call, especially in domestic competition. You and I have both seen that for years now. While you might look better internationally, domestically, things, you can hit those hurdles that you wouldn't necessarily expect and throw yourself off. But looking at this Rich Dynasty roster, I mean, Poltron coming off of, look, it hasn't been a stellar run for the Chiefs in the LCP, but there was clear and distinct improvement made between the splits. He clearly was putting in with the work with the team. Now he's hitting the rift himself. You pair that with the likes of Raze and Gavin in the bot lane, they're a dynamic duo that really could just do that legwork to get them into that later stage of the game and carry them over that finish line. So I think with this roster that Rich Dynasty have, while they've not been immune to the hiccups, of course, you know, having watched the tournament and what I've caught of it so far, there definitely has been some issues that they need to brush out coming into this stage of the competition. Over this weekend, I reckon there is a good chance that they're the ones to make that run through this lower bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe the Champs League has started. Hopefully you get that on your screen soon. But I think, honestly, just looking at how much time has been put into the Rift recently, that I actually do have a bit of a belief in the... I want to say the Outcasts a little bit, just again, because Pradith is so good at what he does, and he's just put in the most games recently. I mean, BBP, or Baby Banana Peel, on the side of Rich Dynasty has also put in quite a lot of work. But I just think back, I mean, Pradith's won a bunch of the local domestic tournaments, so has Raze, admittedly, but just of recency, I mean, Pradith has just been queuing up non-stop, and he's really become a real threat on the Rift, especially on the recent patches. Again, Yunara is such a standout champion. If he does get his hands on it, it's going to be very problematic for the side of Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oceanic Esports, especially League of Legends, has been in a bit of a trough recently this year. We are only getting to see the first sort of glimpses of it outside of the grassroots side of the competition. Obviously, coming into the Fearless Draft as well, seeing how that's affected the Oceanic playstyle, because it's a format that they've not experienced before, and those implications. And you talked about those pocket picks. They can really struggle to make it through into those key matches until sort of that map 4, map 5 type situation. So if you're hedging your bets and trying to get one of those pocket picks through in a game 4, game 5, maybe your strategy might let you down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I can rattle off the draft if we need. I have it here on my screen, so maybe I'll do that. So Rich Dynasty has got Baby Banana Peel playing the Aatrox. Poltron is going to be on the Shaco. So that's going to be interesting to see, because it's a champion that I actually think is relatively strong, but there is counterplay, right? You can get a bunch of sweepers and it's a lot harder to play against. Their mid laner, Fido, is then on the Akshan. They have Raze on the Yunara, so Rich Dynasty got the Yunara here in game 1. And then in the bottom lane for Gavin, it is going to be the Rakan. So that is the blue side, Aatrox, Shaco, Akshan, Yunara, and Rakan. So very heavy AD, solo AP Shaco is going to be my guess. For the Outcasts, on the other hand, it is going to be Snoopdify on the Ornn. I have to remember. Captain Tofu on the Wukong.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's disappeared. I can't see it anymore. Talia was the mid laner, and I forgot the bot lane.
Okay, so you got 3 of 5 on Wukong, Talia.
Yeah.
I mean, listening to what we have there for Rich Dynasty, there are some strong picks individually from what we've seen from them throughout the main run of this tournament. I mean, especially the Shaco jungle has been something that Poltron has gone back to time and time again. The Akshan as well, coming out for Fido in the mid lane, has made more than one appearance, so it's clearly something they're quite comfortable on. And then you talk about Yunara, Rakan in the bot lane. Already, you've got the makings of what is a very, very strong draft, especially going to the later stages of the game. The team fight capabilities are going to be really problematic to deal with. I mean, you just think about an Aatrox in the middle of everything, Shaco just running around being a menace with those boxes going down. All the while, you got Gavin on the Rakan, just running haywire with essentially 2 AD carries, just sitting plugging away in the backside, one of which can then revive one of his teammates if they go down and he finds a kill off the back of it. So it just makes for what I can only imagine is going to be a hugely problematic game 1 for the Outcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the rest of their draft here. It's Kai'Sa Nautilus down the bot lane. So I mean, it is relatively strong. Honestly, I mean, I don't necessarily favor either of the two teams in terms of the draft in particular, because there are just good team fighting champions either side. I mean, the pick potential of having that Talia alongside the Kai'Sa, right? We see it in the RCP quite a lot. The Talia goes in, finds a knife shove, in comes everyone. The Kai'Sa finds, you know, an isolated target, gets that kill, and then all of a sudden the team fight looks really good. But similar can be done with the Akshan in just a different way. And as you said, getting a revive in the middle of a team fight can really change the tempo of how those fights look.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wukong, Talia, not the strongest of duos in the mid lane. You're looking, you know, your Ahri, your Annies that really set up for the Wukong ganks that make it a little bit easier. I mean, Talia, you get a decent shove, Wukong comes in. There is a lot of potential, I think. Realistically, though, I'd like to say we're not going to see anything too crazy. We're not going to see anything chaotic in terms of early fighting. But it's Oceanic. Of course, there's, you know, the gloves are out. You know, you're behind the bot low. Someone said something wrong to someone's girlfriend, and well, the fights are on. We know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. Game is paused. We are in game now. Just checking with production. That is what is on the clean feed. Good. All right. Here we go. There we are. On to the Rift. Looking at the team comps, as mentioned, I mean, Praetor here going for the Ghost. Gives them a little bit more power when it comes to those team fights, being able to maneuver around them a little bit more. But again, you get hit by one Shaco clone, and it really can turn the tides of the fight. Poltron, again, he's very, very versed at this champion. Do not worry. This will fix itself. The game got paused at the very beginning, and this is what happens when that occurs.
Just the game's mental reset, trying to get itself back in, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Clown's very deep.
Gavin not going to connect there on the grand entrance, but the hook certainly will. And Baby Banana Peel takes a reasonable amount of damage, but at level 1, there's not a whole lot to do.
A 4v5. It's not something that we often see, at least for the LCP. Usually it's maybe a skirmish or, you know, that here or there, but very rarely do you see a full 5-man team invade.
Yeah, usually
Oceania, I mean, yeah.
The 3 and then someone else goes and pressures and puts a ward down on the top side, or an exchange of vision, essentially.
Yeah, no, I mean, also looking to try and set back Poltron, I imagine a little bit with the Shaco. Momentum is the last thing you want a jungle Shaco to have, just because of how much he's going to be getting around the Rift.
Absolutely. Akshan, a very strong laner, but much the same as the Talia. Both champions very, very equipped to establish priority in the mid lane, but Akshan certainly wants to have that priority, wants to roam around the map, while Talia in general is a little bit more happy just sitting there, scaling up, getting those items online. Of course, if there is the opportunity, the Weaver's Wall can come through and look for some pretty exciting ganks or skirmishes in the jungle.
Yeah, I imagine Pantheon was likely banned with the Talia being picked up, so you're not going to see that combo, the Great Wall of Sparta, coming through. I think that would be a phenomenal response to what Dynasty are likely going to be looking to do. Oh, Clown
flashing. That's level 2 to level 1. Gavin does have that grand entrance and gets himself out. And Praetor gets the first blood just like that.
Hello and welcome to the Casters Curse. I will send my PayPal details through. I cursed the bot lane already. Oh, Clown, he's done it again.
Yeah, Clown traditionally an AD carry main. Here playing the support role, of course. Quite often AD carries understand how the support role should function, and being that he already has some experience playing alongside Praetor, is doing very well. Established his first blood here.
I mean, that's the pipeline for most spot laners, isn't it? To support and then retirement.
Goes poked by Praetor. His grand entrance lands. Clown tries to dodge it, but won't be able to do so, and Voidseeker also goes wide. This should be a kill back, and yeah, Rain's able to pick it up.
Yeah, just abusing the fact that there was a bit of a summoner mismatch, and Gavin being able to capitalise on Nautilus, who, unless there are walls around, notoriously immobile, especially in the early levels. Up in the top side, BBP is going at it. Hammer and sword this time, not tongs necessarily. But Snoop is actually winning out on the last hits at the moment.
Yep, doing a good job of at least getting the minions. Poltron coming in here for a dive and should be able to pick it up. And that's a massive minion wave that is going to be lost here by Praetor. This Clown will at least claim the XP for it, but still a good dive opportunity found and capitalized upon.
Yeah, look, that's very rough for the Outcasts. An early lead established there with Praetor picking up the kill, and then Poltron comes in, reads it brilliantly, looking to try and stall out that momentum, shift it back in his bot lane's favour. They get Praetor down, like you said, loses a decent amount off of that minion wave. He's going to pick up the cull now to try. I think he actually picked it up before he headed back. Oh, okay.
Nice
Clown,
work by
Clown
Gavin.
is just not stopping.
Yeah, Gavin does a good job of not, interrupting, I suppose, that dredge line so that Reigns can get the recall off. Able to do so.
The Aatrox top lane cull. Not something we've seen, but I suppose in a matchup against an Ornn, you're not going to be all that punished by it, that investment early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Ornn as well is probably a little bit happy about it. It's going to delay getting some of those Aatrox items online where the lane does become a little bit more difficult to navigate through. Of course, very soon, Snoop should have that Bramble Vest on, which will mean that the combat power is a little bit better for Ornn in general, as long as you're landing those abilities.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a few times, especially over the last couple of weeks of the LCP before we headed into this break. The amount of value that these tank top laners were getting out of that Bramble Vest into the likes of the Renekton and the Aatroxes, and just how much harder it was to play those top lane matchups. So we'll be getting that value for sure.
The lead slowly developing here for Raze in the bottom lane. He picks himself up the cull as well. Poltron may be looking for the dragon early on, and no one really around to contest it. So Gavin, come and help him out, and it should just be first dragon of the game very early on, going the way of Rich Dynasty.
Now that priority ping's coming out. As Outcasts are very aware of what's going down, but limited to no real ability to contest it. I mean, Tofu, I think you're probably, going to get more value looking for that Cyclone to come up. So they are just going to do that. Make sure that he gets his ult up as quickly as possible. And then you could look to play off the Halo in the mid lane as well with the Weaver's Wall.
Absolutely. Could be some exciting skirmishes this game, with the amount of sort of long-range impact between the likes of the Ornn, the Talia, and Akshan as well. Can be pretty much anywhere, anytime. Just going to clear out that ward. Level 6 is online now for the solo laners across the rift.
Yeah, Tofu's still at 6. Poltron has his, but in terms of team fighting, I'd argue a little bit less impactful than Captain Tofu will be with that Cyclone still. Look, it's a pretty scary ability to play into, especially if you're a little bit squishy like Praetor is at the moment. Level down, hook still lands for Clown.
Oh, so much damage on the Gavin. He's trying to get away. Praetor doesn't have the flash yet, so he won't be able to make his way there. And there is the Shaker ult being used to full effect as Raze is going to pick up another kill. That's two very quick ones for him. Pings heavily coming down here for the Outcast, but not likely to find their way on anyone as Poltron able to get himself that recall out.
Yeah, I mean, the power of the Shaco being able to dive post 6 and reset that aggro as you drop the ultimate. BBP up into the top lane, not having to play into the Bramble Vest just yet. It's doing a decent job. Forcing Snoop to fight up, but you look at it, 1 and 2 in the bot lane already. Reigns has picked up 2 kills pre-7 minutes. Look, this is already a problem point on the map.
Absolutely. Gavin now deploying out into the mid lane. Halo obviously here, but Fido on the Akshan, and not going to be too threatened by all that much as long as he's got that grapple up.
Yeah. At the moment, I mean, Gavin already having a stellar game for himself, has done a lot of work on the Rakan, despite how that first blood did go in the end. And I think that's really going to do a lot to neuter that engage from Outcast when they start team fight time. If Gavin is in the right place, he can pretty much stall out a lot of their heavy engage.
Yeah, absolutely. Rakan, a very decent champion when pairing with the likes of, generally we see the Vi and the Xin Zhao and things like this, but even the Shaco, who will fill somewhat a similar role, right? Get into the thick of the fight, drop the ult, and Rakan can utilize Shaco being in there to jump forward and then jump back to Raze if he needs it with some engage coming onto him with this Kai'Sa. Void Grub's up and available. Poltron's going to head towards him. Praetor is getting taken out and getting taken out very quickly as Raze will secure himself a third.
Oh, I imagine there is immense frustration on the side of Cloud now, not having that ult available just yet. Because that could have been potentially a turnaround, but everything going Rich Dynasty's way at the moment as they will start up and take 2 of the 3 grubs as well. It's a bleak looking for the Outcasts at the start of game 1.
Yeah, able to get all 3 of them. So everything so far going the way of Rich Dynasty. They give over first blood, and from then on, it's been all their show. Even up on the top side, not a whole lot happening, but maybe Banana Peel finds himself with an XP lead.
Absolutely. I mean, mid lane at least is going all right for Halo on the Talia. Unfortunately, just with how frequently Fido has had him at his turret shoved in, there's just been no opportunity for the Weaver's Wall to come out to look for a roam to try and impact the rest of the map. And unfortunately, that will likely lead to that bleeding continuing and Rich Dynasty establishing an even greater lead.
Doing a good job of trading against Fido, though, and has himself a slight lead for himself individually. Not a whole lot of action occurring in the mid lane. I mean, ultimately, scaling still perfectly fine for both teams, realistically. So as long as the Outcasts are able to try and stem the bleeding and get some gold for themselves, eventually things can even out. But the big problem from now and really until the end of the game is going to be this Yunara. Can they lock down the Yunara? Of course, they have the Nautilus to be able to set up for the likes of the Seismic Shove. But it's going to be about that cohesion. Do they have sort of the coordination to be able to look towards doing that constantly?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Yuntal's coming online around that 9-minute mark means that Reigns is in a phenomenal position at the moment.
And even Prater's looking for it.
Here you go.
Dropping the depth charge and everything being used now onto Raze. It's a great, great charm, but Raze is going to be taken out. Shut down, going the way of the Talia as Gavin will be able to get himself away. Good gank.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot lost even for Halo. He's going to be able to return to this mid lane without really losing all that much. Has the teleport. Poltron's going to be found here as he drops his little trap. Clown trying to walk away. Grand Entrance coming down, but everyone on the side of the Outcast coming back. There is that trap there to stop any forward movement. With his pink ward goes down, discovers it. Word into use here as Baby Banana Peel has teleported in the back of the fight. Clown getting knocked up. Clown's going to get taken down. No, the flash is going to be matched.
Yeah, TP down to the bot side will all but certainly secure Rich Dynasty. Dragon number 2 on the Rift, and they are well on their way to claiming those Noxian Blessings. I think this would actually do it, in fact, because it is going to be uncontested here. Reigns heading up the top side to match Snoop to fight. And it was a brilliant read for Outcasts for sure, recognising there's no flash on Reigns. He's only got limited mobility even in that transcended form. So they pull Halo down, look to use the Weaver's Wall. Unfortunately, not having teleport on Snoop Defy means that they can't answer and they will lose out a little bit in terms of the macro.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it was a 1-for-1, and whereas they got the shutdown. Of course, the Dragon ended up going the way of Rich Dynasty, so it is definitely a win towards them. But some much-needed gold being picked up there by the Outcast, which is going to help them. You see on the top of your screen there, 2k gold advantage so far for Rich Dynasty, and at 11 or 12 minutes into the game, it is a substantial amount realistically.
And a decent amount of that in the bot lane, though.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it can be made up. Blackfire Torch is available. Oh, my lord, BBP.
Yeah.
Just going in.
Interested to see how many sweepers get picked up here. Poltron, good ultimate, gets him free of that seismic shove, and Captain Tofu is going to have to drop that clone to get himself out. Shaco clone now dealt with.
It's one of those, you're kind of glad there's no Nico in this game, because it would just be, oh lord.
Gavin, the quickness, the Grand Entrance, seismic shove isn't going to really connect, but the Cyclone certainly would. Knock up once again onto Gavin. Can Halo find the kill? The flash over the wall. He's throwing those rocks. He will be able to get it. Snoop Defy ends up picking it up. He'll get himself a second. And just like that, 2 quick kills onto the Ornn here as the Outcasts land themselves some much-needed gold.
Yeah, game respect game. Snoop Defy with a great roam there. Called the Forge God, cutting off the retreat. Right, Rich Dynasty just well overcommitting that. Does give Reigns some time up in this top tower. Will get himself a couple of plates. So at least is keeping that gold acquisition going. My lord, the damage.
Absolutely. Ray's heading like a freight train at this point. A little bit upset with Snoop and not having the choo-choo Ornn skin, but, you know, it happens.
I mean, at the moment, that lead somewhat lessened, but the fact that the macro game is very much going Rich Dynasty's way could prove problematic for the Outcast going later. Team, you know, Captain Tofu hasn't found an opening. Oh my lord, Razor's just getting free time on this tower as well. They're getting plates in the bot lane. Almost the entirety of that gold lead.
Weaver's Wall's there, Weaver's Wall. They're looking for Baby Banana Peel. He's going to be able to have that seismic shove, and it's perfect. Praetov's now is going to make his way on to this Aatrox. Can they get the kill over on to this Kai'Sa? It's going to be very important, and they do. Praetov able to secure himself a second for the game. No Dragon to secure for the time being, as that will be spawning in another 2.5 minutes, but at least some more gold over to the AD carry of the Outcast. Still winning across the map as Rich Dynasty getting more plates in the mid lane and likely a tower in the top as well.
My lord, they are just racking up numbers. Just as the plating falls as well.
Yeah, good trading here by Halo. Clown in the area, so Fido is going to head out.
Infernal Soul coming through. I mean, that's definitely going to be good for both teams. I think you probably want that a little bit more if you're the Outcast at realistic. Oh, okay, they found it. Re-engage on the Fido. Yeah. His flash too.
Okay. Can see there that the depth charge was used, so I assume obviously used the grapple earlier, had no grapple, got depth charged and comboed by Talia is my assumption. Good find nonetheless. More gold. Kills now even, but again it's the objectives really that Rich Dynasty are winning out on pretty heavily. They've got that 1 tower, very close to getting another 2. See even Raze at this point taking away the jungle caps from Captain Tofu, and this dragon stacking could become an issue. 1.5 minutes until the next fight, and as things stand, a reasonable advantage. You're seeing it there. 1.5-ish K gold going the way of Raze in terms of those AD carry matchups.
I mean, that's pretty impressive, honestly. It's only about 600 gold lead in the mid lane for Halo, who has been having a phenomenal time for himself. Unfortunately, Fido has made up some of it. Clown.
Let me spot it out. Should be able to get himself away. Nice buffering there of that dredge line. Gets himself free. But again, gets himself out, but it's still going to be the Rift Herald going the way of Rich Dynasty as they continue winning. A few slip-ups allowing them to be picked, but they are. Dragon's the next thing. 40 seconds.
New tiles coming online for Praetor as well. Not necessarily sure if that's... Well, I mean, to be fair, he's not going to have the greatest times as a Kaiser regardless when it comes to those team fights if Poltron can find an angle onto him, if Gavin can find an angle onto him. So you might as well just make do with what you can. Halo working his way towards the Leandries as well. Ping's going out on the bot side of the map. They want to contest this as best they can. 15 seconds left. Tofu and Clown have done a great job clearing out the vision. Poltron
looking up, drops the pink ward. Will spot out two members of the Outcast in the bush. Of course, heavy members on both sides here towards the Dragon. Snoop up in the top side does have the teleport to come and join as Gavin finds his way in. It's a really, really good grand entrance, but Raze is isolated on the back line, and this could be the AD carry going down. The barrier's there. Praetor cannot trade heavily enough. They are able to trade, but it's not the revive coming through. Down will go Captain Tofu in the middle of the fight, but it is the clone going down as well. It's a 2-for-2 as things stand as Clown and Snoop Defy are getting taken down heavily, and it is still going to be the win for Rich Dynasty. As only two members survive, Halo alongside Clown. Poltron sitting and waiting in this bush, though, not confident enough to start up this Dragon immediately. Hook connects onto BBP. Is Halo going to be able to be here to support Clown? No, almost certainly not, and down he will go. Praetor back onto the map now, though. The Dragon's still not entirely certain. Poltron will start it up. It would be the third of the game for them. We'll see if the Outcasts still want to look to contest it. It's very hard to walk in. Look at these Shaco traps. They're going to find it. Halo's locked up. He's trying to flash away, and Praetor has rejoined the fight. Fido cannot find it as that's the shutdown going the way of Praetor. Again, these traps are so annoying, but with Baby Banana Peel so low and no teleport, the Dragon has been stopped.
I mean, it's a very rough look in for Rich Dynasty, and Praetor's going to look to try and start it up himself here. I think if they just committed fully onto the Dragon, they'd be in a better spot, and with Halo TPing right back into the thick of things, this should be an Outcast Dragon. I don't think there is actually a way for Rich Dynasty to contest it now.
Yeah, absolutely, but they are not too interested in contesting it. They're going to take down that mid lane tower, so it is still a trade, and it's still a good trade, realistically, for Rich Dynasty. And that's one of the benefits of getting these early Dragons, is you are able to just give one up in exchange for something else on the map, and I think, if anything, this mid tower is like the best thing on the map to give up for it.
Exactly. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you need an avenue back in. Dragon has consistently, at least for Apex South, been such a great objective for getting teams back into the game as well. So I don't blame them for wanting to look for that avenue. BBP going to catch this wave down in the bot lane. I mean, the map state so far for Dynasty is still looking very good.
Absolutely. Outcast, though, certainly trying to fight their way back in. Brought the gold lead down to 1K at one point. Now it's back up to 2, but realistically staying at about that number the whole time as the game progresses forward. As long as that stays true, the gold lead will begin to matter less and less. Of course, really what we're looking at is the difference between the two AD carries at the time being.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem you look at when it comes to team fight times is Rain is going to be able to get much more coverage in terms of these team fights with that Runan's up and just how Yunara works compared to Praetor, who very much is just going to burst down target by target. So it does become a bit problematic in terms of grouping for the Outcast. If they don't play their spacings correctly, they will get shredded reasonably quickly, especially given how accelerated Raze is.
Oh, teleporting down to the bot lane. Unfortunately, not going to find all that much. Maybe able to get this tower, and if they do get it, again, it's going to be more gold towards them. Halo, actually Captain Tofu rather, has to be careful. He's pulled the trigger to go forward, does have the clone, and will eat that Akshan ult pretty fine. Heavy presence towards this bot tower. It's 3v4 down here, 3v5 even. Gavin with the Grand Entrance connecting onto Clown, with Captain Tofu's pulling the trigger. Do they have the damage? This is a heavy outnumbered fight as Rich Dynasty look to take their first. Captain Tofu's going to go down, and will come the Ornhorn as Praetor joins the fight. They're going to be able to get Baby Banana Peel. No, they're not. He's lived on just such a minuscule amount of health, but in comes Praetor with that killer instinct.
Oh, no.
That's 3 very quick kills going the way of the Outcasts. There won't be anything more to find, but a huge overstep for Rich Dynasty leads to some critical gold going the way of the Outcast, and the Rift Herald doesn't even locate the tower.
I mean, I just cannot commend Praetor enough with how he's playing these backline fights. He is just consistently diving onto Rain's face, meaning he cannot play the game, or they look for the turnaround.
Yeah, he's not caught on the shop. Snoop takes a massive chunk of damage from that dagger.
He's doing some damage. I mean, he hit Clown for, oh no, it was Captain Tofu. I think it was nearly 10%, 15% of his HP with a single dagger throw off the back of that Blackfire torch. So the damage is starting to come through for Poltron, especially when these extended engagements that we're seeing.
I've seen this one before. It's going to happen again. Oh, we have unfortunately missed the grapple. The Poltron, again, huge chunk of damage coming out of those daggers. As Praetor still trying to look for that recall. Hasn't been able to find it just yet. Arakan up and available, and Praetor eats another shot from one of those Shaco boxes as well, as he's half HP without even having the opportunity to interact.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you want to look for. You want Praetor to be as uncomfortable diving into that backline as possible, so chip damage is going to be good. Unfortunately, there's not really all that many sources of it from the Rich Dynasty comp. I think between Reigns and Fido, maybe you can get a bit of poke damage out, maybe Poltron finds an angle, but realistically, Praetor's been playing it so cleanly. He finds the opportunity, waits till Reigns is sitting around 65, 70% HP, will dive straight onto the back line at a moment's notice. So I think realistically, Dynasty just need to pace themselves a little.
Absolutely. And ultimately the gold lead as well that was established and still is established by Rich Dynasty will close down as you get those Orn items online. Of course, each Orn item worth about 1,000 gold. So as Snoop gets level 13, his Sunfire Cape will upgrade, and he can then look to upgrade that Infinity Edge or whatever item Praetor chooses for and go on from there. Halo so far too, 307 on the Talia, a very commendable effort by him. As Captain Tofu looking for something in the back line here, will spot out Gavin. Does pull the trigger, the seismic shove actually lands, but Baby Banana Peel's here to answer the quickness. Baby Banana Peel is able to find the damage, down goes one. It's Raze that confirms that kill as the Shaco boxes will explode. Nice knock up on Snoop Defy, down goes BBP, Raze in the front line, and he's way too far forward as a double kill is secured for Praetor. 4v3, but low health bars. Halo doing a good job of taking down a large chunk of damage onto that Shaco. Poltron's going to be forced away from this Dragon Pit, 10 seconds until that does spawn. Praetor looking for a recall. Ignite goes down. Clown might get taken out. No!
Oh my lord.
Straight onto the scattered earth.
Halo is just getting so much value right now. 3-0-10. He's not racking up the kills, but those assists have steadily been stacking up throughout this game. He's been involved in all but 2 kills for this Outcast roster. It's very impressive stuff, and you see consistently. I mean, Raze at one point was 3-1 this game. He's now 5-4 consistently throughout these team fights. He's been jumped on, shut down, CC chained into oblivion.
Yeah, and look at Praetor, 9-4 now on the Kaiser. Has his 3 items, the Navori being his 3rd. As Dragon's still looking to be contested here. It's 2-1 the Dragon's score, of course, favoring Rich Dynasty for the time being. But the gold lead, while it still does exist, certainly is closing. Snoop as well, hitting level 13, now has that Sunfire Cape upgraded. Captain Tofu going to be found and slowed down heavily as Ray's trying to find a way forward, not able to do so.
I mean, one bonk on the Poltron's head with that Triforce from Captain Tofu, and you can already see that damage coming online now. Gavin very far forward.
Oh dear, way too far. Legendary now is Praetor as he's looking to take down Raze as well, and will do so. Fido straight into that Cyclone, 3-0. BBP's next on the list. Down he will go as well as a triple kill is secured for Praetor, and the Outcasts have turned this one well and truly.
Oh, it's a bleak looking, given how well the game started for Rich Dynasty. They just have not been able to play their spacing in these team fights. Have not been able to find the value that Yunara needs, which is obviously a front line to soak that damage, given the ability to just punch out onto the Outcast, and all the while Praetor sits there and holds. Praetor at the moment is hitting harder right-clicking than Rain. I mean, that's just crazy damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately for the side of Rich Dynasty, their composition doesn't lead itself to these 5v5 fights. They want to be very skirmishy, very messy almost, and they've been a little bit too messy, where Praetor's been able to secure these kills on these isolated targets. Gavin just walks in, gets hooked, and dies before being able to use anything, and with Raze being nearby him, he was the next logical target, and as soon as he goes down, it's pretty doomed.
Yeah, it's a very rough spot, I think, for Rich Dynasty to come back, especially given how cohesive Outcasts are looking at this minute.
Absolutely.
Your best bet is the Outcasts misplaying a team fight. Even then, I don't think that's going to happen because of how coordinated they're looking.
Yeah, they've really turned it on. The early game a little rough, and now when you get these team fights rather, and they do just have the better team fight. Ultimately, Gavin's going to get hooked up here. This Shaco box is going to be able to dissuade quite a lot of what the side of the Outcasts are looking for. But now the Halo arrives, that's a lot of damage. Captain Tofu loses out on his Cyclone. He's going to have to run away. BBP as well. World Ender gone. Aatrox a lot weaker now at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, all armor items, so Ray is going to be having a really hard time into this Orn. And when your solo AP is Poltron on AP Shaco, you're not really getting a heck of a lot of uptime onto Snoop. So the problem's just compounding, it seems. Halo as well, Rabadon's third item, 4-0 and 13. I mean, it's almost the opposite kill score that his bot laner has, who's 12, 4 and 3. And those Yuntal's arrows have been upgraded as well.
Poltron gets a smite on the red. A small win, but a win nonetheless, as everyone on his team now will have red buff available to themselves. A lot of ults missing on the side of the Outcast. So if there was a time to fight for Rich Dynasty, now would be that. If Gavin can find a way in, it could be a potential winning angle for them. Cyclone, Call the Forge God both being down, and just look how many traps there are around this Baron pit. It is so difficult for the side of the Outcast to ever dream of entering the river.
This is exactly what I think Rich Dynasty want, playing these skirmishy fights in the jungle with those traps down. Unfortunately, the resets already come through for Outcasts, so they're not as low as they could have been otherwise. Captain Tofu's still low-ish, and they're looking for an angle in.
Yeah, Aatrox is coming down as well from the top side. Clown there. They get a nice seismic shove once again onto Gavin. He does have to jump away, but here comes the Call of the Forge God. Knock up straight there onto this Rakana's Raze. Tries desperately to kite around. Redemption gonna get hooked. What a hook from Clown, and down will go the Yunara. The three-man Cyclone. Captain Tofu will get himself another, and the Outcasts are reigning supreme as Poltron is all that stands. He's very protected by all of these boxes, but realizing that the Outcast is looking towards mid.
I'm going to have to watch that back again. My lord, Razors are there 1 second gone, the next Praetor literally just 3-shot him out of existence. I don't even know if it was that. He's just hitting so hard right now. And I mean, as soon as that happens, your damage dealers are gone. Yeah, this is going to be the freest Baron I think the Outcasts are going to see, barring a miracle steal from Poltron.
Yeah, they need to locate him. Halo trying to look for him. Of course, these traps will do a lot of damage. Poltron, he's going to be known. They know where he is now. Is trying to look for the kill onto Halo, possibly. No. Not going to be able to do so. Halo doing a great job of guarding this Baron. Poltron, with no clear way in, is just going to go and take these Raptors as Outcasts get themselves the Baron and a substantial lead now. Oh! He gets it. That's the first death of the game for Halo. Poltron showing his proficiency here on the Shaco.
So, Reigns, just hooked. And then it's all of one combo, and he's dead. Unfortunately, Gavin not able to get in front of him and tank it. That's a rough spot, and one of the easily exploitable portions of Yunara's kit is just how close she has to be to deal damage, and unfortunately just not respecting that engaged threat from Outcasts at all.
I mean, that was a near-on max range Nautilus hook. So, I mean, commendable effort to have been able to find that, and onto the perfect target as well.
Maybe Clown could offer some of his Nautilus coaching to some of the players in the LCP.
Absolutely, as they're pulling the trigger, in goes everyone, transcended as Raze, and Praetor, is he going to go down? He's still alive, shutdown, Redemption claims it, but Captain Tofu and the boys in the thick of things, finding a whole lot of damage. Findo coming, can he get the reset, can he get the shutdown? Yes, and back up on the map now will be Raze's Clown, trying to run for his life, will not be able to do so. It's a quick team fight win here for Rich Dynasty, as Dragon number 3 will be picked up.
As they say, turnabout is fair play. A brilliant engaged Praetor, to his credit, survives for such a crazy long time. in the middle of that, but it's actually Gavin with the redemption, I believe, that sniped the kill away in the end. They take him down. It's a shutdown nonetheless, but I think you very much would have been happier if Raze or Fido, or even Poltron really, picked that up.
Absolutely. Still good to take him down and get that team fight win, though, of course, as very quickly the momentum had been shifting towards the Outcasts, so still signs of life. As Praedyth, unfortunately, getting caught in mid lane. It's something that historically he's been synonymous with, unfortunately.
I mean, consistency is key at the end of the day. If you're going to be known for something, you might as well remain known for something. At the moment, I mean, Sundered Sky upgraded as well for Captain Tofu. No upgrades having come through for Halo, and it's only a matter of time. He's got the Seekers as well. I mean, this is a phenomenal Talia game for him so far.
For sure. Only the one death to pretty funny play by Poltron, but finds the kill. Baron will be spawning in 3 minutes, so it's not that much of a threat, and there is 30 seconds left of it for the Outcast, but being that a lot of the members do not have it after that last fight, they're not likely to find all that much. Gold exceedingly even. Unfortunately, it's Praedyth who is the big winner here. From what started with Raze in such a fantastic position, a few team fights go awry, and now it's Praedyth that is the big pumper on the Rift.
Oh,
lands on the Gavin again, and look at the damage! He is able to get away. It costs him the heal. He's going to have to look for that recall as well.
I mean, Praedyth's nearly full build as it stands at 31 minutes. He's had a grand old comeback. Unfortunately, as much as that was some nice damage, it was onto the Wukong clone.
Yeah, it's a very scary prospect now for Gavin. Anytime he goes to ward of clowns around with Praedyth, you saw how much damage can come down onto him in such a short amount of time. Oblivion Orb online for Clown. Not the worst purchase. I mean, there's not a whole lot of healing outside of the Aatrox, but still, you kind of have your 2 items as support and job done, so now getting something that benefits the team, and I don't hate the Oblivion Orb. Nautilus applying it pretty well.
I mean, it's going to get value, especially with the depth charge.
Yeah, exactly, and Nautilus just applies it really well, so it isn't the worst thing of all. Of course, Gavin as well sits on 3 items himself. Knight's Vow, his choice for 3rd item.
I think.
Fido. Oh, flash. Good flash, but also a good find there out of Halo. Poltron looking to punish. Maybe not.
I mean, what we're seeing at the moment is Fido's remembered that the mission briefing said that stealth was an option, and he's realised that he can't just run full guns blazing at the Outcasts and hope for a good outcome. So he's remembered, he's going back, the suppressor's back on.
Bit of a lull period. Not something used to seeing here.
Oh boy. Praedyth is currently full build. That Rabadon's has been upgraded as well by Snoopify. This is a very, very strong looking Outcast, and they have to play this next team fight horrendously to lose out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Ray's still very strong, but 2 levels down. Captain Tofu finds the engage. The quickness is going to be used. Halo has gone to Nani, but Raze is going to be completely uninvolved in the fight. Praedyth will not be, however, as he finds his way onto Gavin. Now it's going to be Baby Denial and Appeal, the next to be targeted down. There's a lot of traps. They have to be careful, but they don't even have to run into them as they find the first kill. Void Seeker will land as Praedyth goes in. He's 1v4, but he's able to kite around. Very low HP there on the Shaco, but Poltron will limp away.
I mean, just the state of the game where Praedyth can go for a play like that and not be punished is insane. And yeah, he had so many targets there that he nearly found the kill on. Raze just cannot find an angle into these fights at all.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I didn't really understand the wall until I saw Raze was just completely split from the team. And so without that Yunara, who was at 4 items and very, very strong, it's going to be a near-on impossibility to find success in these fights. And even BBP, who admittedly was strong at the beginning of the game, only on the 2 items now in comparison to 5 for the Kaiser, is going to be absolutely no match. Baron going to be available in 10 seconds. We'll see if the side of the Outcast can establish enough dominance to disallow Poltron in, because if he can't set up those traps, he is a very, very handicapped champion.
I mean, the big problem is they just lack the front line for Raze to actually get his uptime.
Lands on a Poltron, he has the ultimate, gets himself out, grand entrance from Gavin, but he's going to get stunned up. Does he find enough value? As Praedyth straight in the back line. That's Fido, that's Raze, that's the 2 damage dealers gone, and Praedyth is unleashed. That's 2, can he get his second? No, he won't get the 3rd rather. As both Poltron and BBP will make their way out, but with 4 members standing against just the 2, this should at least be the Baron, if not pushing towards the end.
Yeah, just the damage is egregious. And Captain Tofu again, despite being 3-4-4, I mean, he was 0-4-7 at one point. He's just consistently found these angles to allow Praetor to dive in onto the back line. This is just game. There's no two ways about it. I do not. Okay, no.
Yeah,
I thought for sure they were going to be able to push that in. Oh, what a snipe!
Gavin finds his second redemption kill of the game. Poltron playing aggressively here. Is that clone still going, of course? Will get taken out eventually, as Dragon is going to be the next target. They should be able to pick this one up pretty free. Poltron on the other side of the map. Pig's going down onto the Baron.
Who gave Gavin vulnerability?
Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, that's a bold call. That is a very bold call.
They're going towards Baron. That's going to be the Weaver's Wall. They find them around a BBP, but maybe BBP found his way onto Halo. Does land the knock-up, has to flash away, and Praetor just running forward. That's one kill. The grand entrance, the quickness, but Gabin's all alone. There's no damage to follow up from. Praetor still half HP. Ray's popping that ultimate. Can he find his way in? Fido goes down. Ray's trying to run away, gets stunned up. It is going to get taken out. Absolutely one shot. And with 5 members still up and available for the Outcasts, they very well should just be able to end the game. It was a disastrous start, but they've really turned it around. Gavin trying to lead these minions away. Halo will not connect there, unfortunately, but eventually they will find this Rakan. The minions will be freed up, and they'll march down this mid lane to game 1 victory.
I mean, Poltron's here. BVP's 20 seconds off. He may be able to make some sort of play with the boxes. I'm not sure, honestly. Especially with 4 sweepers employed currently. There you go. They find the first. Another goes down. He does have ult up in just a second.
Yeah, trying to get these minions down. But for now, 2 towers, only the Nexus stands, and it is going to be the Outcast taking game 1. It was a very back and forward event where the start of the game very well and truly going in favor of Rich Dynasty, but a couple of team fights go awry. All of a sudden, Praetor is just Exodia, and he takes complete control of the Rift.
Yeah, there was a distinct lack of frontline for Rich Dynasty, unfortunately, and as soon as Praetor hit that tipping point, Clown could just engage. They just freely engage. Captain Tofu finds his way consistently onto the back line. Raze could not play a single team fight past that sort of 15-minute mark, and it was just, I mean, you got to commend the commitment, the resilience for Outcasts to wait out that scaling period and do as well as they did, because there are teams who would have completely fumbled that opportunity, but Praetor scales into this absolute monstrosity, and you saw it, aggressively diving into 3-4 champions and still just getting out unscathed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what the team comps led themselves to be, where one side of things wants to look for picks, wants to play these very messy, scrappy skirmishes, where the other side has an Ornn, a Wukong, the Talia, you know, all these champions that are really good at playing these front-to-back team fights, and Nautilus and a Kai'Sa, so as soon as someone's out of position, you can isolate them, you can take them out, and that's kind of what happened. You had that lead, you had Raze very far ahead, but unfortunately with no one that was bulky enough to stand in the front line, he wasn't actually able to have that uptime that could have allowed them to take over these fights. So obviously, all these champions we are doing Fearless Draft will now be removed, which I think is something that's honestly good for Rich Dynasty, more so than it is for the Outcasts, just because, I mean, they played the Shaco, right? This is not a champ that's typically played in competitive, so it's not a big loss when it's gone. I already know Poltron's very capable of playing these more standard, I mean, the Xin Zhaos, the Pantheons, he can play these champs, trying to get himself a cheeky win on something that he looked very good on ultimately, but now maybe going back to a more normal team comp, front to back, get Raze ahead again, and then play it from there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the rest of that draft as well, Aatrox and Akshan being removed, no one is really suffering all that greatly. Aatrox finds himself in play, usually games sort of 3-4 in a best of 5, game 3, maybe game 2 in a best of 3, so there's still plenty on the Rift, but I mean, that could be a bit of a demoralizing game for Rich Dynasty, so they're going to have to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and hope they can make that comeback in game 2.
Absolutely. We are going to go to a break. Once we're back, game number 2 will be on your screens. Of course, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you very shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Getting ready now for game number 2. Of course, it was the Outcasts taking the game 1 victory, and they were losing quite heavily in the early stage of the game. Got first blood, went very downhill from there, but truly turned it around, and largely due to team composition. So going into game 2, that won't be that much of an issue, and I'm pretty sure Rich Dynasty will be able to turn it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, that game I think would have been a lot better for Rich Dynasty if you look at something like a Lethality Varus in the bot lane, potentially any real mage mid laner. I think you have a great comp, and that Shaco in the hands of Poltron can do a lot of that chip damage with those traps, create a bit of chaos, and then you've just got these long range spells sniping in on the top of it. But I mean, look, realistically, as we come into it, game 2, Vi going to be taken away. I mean, no real surprises given that sticking power.
Yeah, and it's something that Poltron plays quite a lot of, so it's easier just to get rid of, honestly. It's a champ that is very hard to deal with and can kind of press R on someone, and you know, if you're not the most coordinated team in the world, can very quickly find yourself taken out of. So the Outcasts banned that away. Rich Dynasty taking away Captain Tofu's Olaf. Very much likes his Teemo jungle and Olaf. I think it is 2 most played champs, so getting rid of that doesn't surprise me all that much. Varus taking away from Raze as well. Very capable on the champion. So again, just all these things that aren't awfully surprising.
Rex coming through as well. And I mean, look, if you're an LCP watcher, and specifically for the last Chiefs appearance for the year, you wouldn't be all that worried about it. But I mean, in the top lane, it is going to be a bit of a stat stick. Aurora comes through as another band in the mid lane. We've seen a lot of strength out of it, especially in APAC South as a whole, not just the LCP, but all of the sub-regions, and then, of course, Oceanic coming in. I mean, look, it has shown a lot of strength when paired with the right junglers. I mean, you look at the 2 junglers that already take it, well, 2, 1 through the Fearless and 1 already being banned away, Wukong, Vi, and even the Shaco for Poltron. You'd think some of the strongest junglers for setting up that ball, but I mean, Trundle as well has been paired with it in the past. Unfortunately, has been banned out by Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, first pick coming through for the Outcast, of course, really anyone's guess as to where you go, but there are a lot of strong junglers. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Pantheon. It's again, I think is the 3rd most played champion here for Captain Tofu, so pick that up for themselves. BBP, I think, is 2nd best champion or 2nd most played champion in the Rumble, being picked up in that top lane. So again, a lot of things that aren't all that surprising. It looks like Poltron has been auto-filled, so we'll see what he's playing. Looks like he's in the jungle.
Yeah, you'd imagine. Maokai, okay. So you've got the setup already there, so I would imagine if it's not sniped away, because I wouldn't be very surprised if Outcasts are just going to snipe away Yone here, but I think that might be the angle that Rich Dynasty are looking for. Of course, Maokai, not necessarily restricted to just playing with a Yone in the mid lane. There's a lot that you can do with it, but with the AP presence, you'd imagine it is going to be along the lines of an AD mid.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you kind of do need AD now in that mid lane, so I mean, picking up the Galio, I hope it's in the top lane, because realistically, you're more than likely to see a Tristana or a Corki here for Fido in the mid lane. Sivir, a very strong champion, is going to be played by Paradith for the Outcasts. And again, just putting him on something that's very strong in the later stage of the game seems to do well for them. Tristana, I am most likely looking at this to go mid. However, Raze does also play it, so it could go to Raze with something like the Corki. We'll see if the Outcasts are aware of that being a possible threat and take away the champion or not.
Yeah, look, a little bit concerning, I think, if we are just going to see a bit of a one-dimensional AD carry only mid laner. But, I mean, look, Tristana's no weakling by any stretch of the imagination. Not sure if you get the most value out of this comp yet, but Syndra ban coming through, Corki ban coming through, denying that away. So it's hard to say whether that they think it's going bot lane or mid. Corki can flex both, and obviously Tristana can as well. Cassiopeia being taken away in the mid lane. I mean, those bans to me from Rich Dynasty sort of speak towards it maybe actually being Tristana mid or the Yone again.
Yeah, those are picks that you typically do ban as AD carry mids, but again, it could still be that the Corki's picked up because both the Cassiopeia and the
banned, so it can't be.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, good identification, I think, of the Outcast. My bad. This Rel can be taken away from Gabin. It's an O's classic. If you go through the highest ranked players in solo duo and any of the supports, 90% of them have Rel as their highest played champ. It is just a very impactful team fight
at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how much value you get out of that champion. And we're looking at the Maokai and the Rumble already. That value was just going to skyrocket. So I think it's a very smart ban from the Outcasts.
Yep.
I mean, to Sivir, Galio. I mean, you look at something along the lines of, again,
there we go.
Okay, I've enjoyed Rich Dynasty's run of this tournament, but a misfortune pick to me just says that's game.
Yeah, they do have a good setup for it alongside the Rumble and the Maokai, and it gives even more value to that Ral ban that came through. Now for the rest of the picks here, Ari into this Tristana, so obviously the Galio now confirmed to be the top laner. Theoretically could go into the support role, but less than likely, as we are likely to see now the support to come through alongside the Sivir. I mean, realistically, you're not looking for anything that's going to hard win the lane. You could go for the Nico. It is something that's available still and is very, very strong and will pair reasonably well with everything shown by the Outcasts. So we'll see if that is the angle they go towards. It's also a good takeaway from that pairing with the Misfortune.
Yeah, I mean...
Sona!
Okay. That's... I mean, I was looking maybe Leona, Alistar if you're really feeling like you know, just default to engage support. But Sona, I mean, okay, and the Renata, I'm not 100% sold on the second half of these drafts. Starting off was pretty phenomenal, but they really just... They phoned it in towards the end, unfortunately. I mean, look, there is a lot of scary team fight coming out of Rich Dynasty, but I mean, Pantheon Ari in the mid lane is a massively impressive combo. If you find that timing,
yep.
Tristan is pretty much dead. I think you're going to struggle to find your way out of that until you hit 6, and even then the rocket jump is only going to be so useful, especially if they burn that flash early.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, when it comes to this Tristana, is actually she's one of the better champs at dealing with it because she has so much safety in the rocket jump. So I actually don't think I feel that worried for Fido as long as he's making sure not to be using that W aggressively. So if he keeps it up, he's probably pretty safe. The Sona champion, though, very weak in lane. If you get through the lane, if you get to 25 minutes, she's one of the strongest supports in the game. I think probably the hardest scaling support. So looking towards getting that scaling, getting towards the later stage of the game, then she becomes very strong. The one problem you run into is if you're trying to fight for these objectives, if your Galio's not there, you don't really have anyone that great at tanking up the Maokai ult. So it's going to be hard if they're behind, if the side of the Outcasts are behind, to find avenues into any of these chokeholds around the dragons, around the barons. And if they don't have their Galio there, if their Galio's up top, doesn't have teleport, whatever it may be, it's going to be a near-on impossibility to look for those fights. And so I think getting to be first at the objective, which the Sivir does help you do, is going to be very, very important for how the Outcasts play this game. But for the side of Rich Dynasty, I mean, their team comp is all very, very good. I think the Renata doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but outside of that, it's a pretty solid team comp altogether.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's potentially something more that you could have brought out.
Yeah. Have a look at some of the replays of the last game. I mean, Gavin unfortunately getting caught out. He does eventually make it out on a minuscule amount of HP, as Reigns did get the first kill of that team fight. But from there on in, it was just Praetor able to pretty much free hit. Look at him, full HP still. Snoop doing a great job in that front line. And then as Raze goes forward, just gets stunned up by Clown and a double kill. And some much needed gold at that stage of the game going towards Praetor. Especially at this stage, it was 2-1 in terms of those dragons. And it was a very real win condition for Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the comp that had been drafted here by Rich Dynasty. If you, again, substitute the Yanara out for something like a Varus, you put a mage in the mid lane who can, again, set up that damage from distance. You look at how low a lot of these health bars are getting. A Pope comp really would have thrived here. Unfortunately, that's not the way the draft goes. And it got to a point where, Praetor was just a monster. Clown, again, just consistently looking for those openings, was so willing. Oh, Fido.
Yeah, it goes in and... Unfortunately, very telegraphed where you're going with that grapple, so just chucking down the scattered earth, you're going to get stunned up, and there's so much damage. You just get taken out. One of the most impressive hooks of the game, honestly, just finding it straight there onto Raze at the front of the team fight, and they just absolutely annihilate him, unfortunately. And really, I mean, this was where the game completely fell apart in my mind. Obviously, after this, they did pick up a dragon, the side of Rich Dynasty, but even after that, it didn't really look all that conceivable that they find any real stock in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin, he tried to hold out and that killed it on it, to hand the shit down to someone who really could have used it, but just weren't able to. Yeah, even when they did have a couple of decent shots in towards the later stages of this game, it just really wasn't enough. Again, Clown consistently hitting those dredge lines and ruining the positioning for Rich Dynasty. So hopefully this time around, I mean, you're not going to be worried as much going into a Sona. Sona doesn't have that hook, obviously, but as soon as that crescendo comes out, oh boy, these team fights can get a bit hectic.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when you start stacking up that ability haste, you get to 120 stacks, and all of a sudden, each time you use an ability, you're lowering the cooldown of Crescendo. It's a very scary champion to deal with. But of course, before that point, it's very, very weak, and it's very exploitable. It doesn't really do well into the likes of the Rumble, into the likes of the Maokai. Of course, the healing, trying to get through the saplings that Poltron will be putting out, which when he has this red smite is all but certainly going to be that Leandri's first into the Bloodletters. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I haven't seen Sona in a competitive game in a very long while, and so Clown now bringing it out. It's going to be... I don't really know what to expect. Halo going to get looked at here. That is going to be a very early rocket jump. Halo maybe even needing to flash. He's getting low. Q doesn't connect though.
Could have been an angle in first blood, unfortunately. Not to be. Halo is likely going to have to burn the teleport heal. So tempo is going to be a little bit off, but no. Yeah, no, okay. So he's just going to TP out. So Vido's going to have that advantage when it comes for those first recalls. I think that's exactly what you want as a Tristana in the mid lane.
Oh well. Does manage to survive, of course. Does lose the teleport, so it's a good advantage in lane here for Fido. Ultimately can take some pretty heavy trades and look to recall with that teleport. Should give him a lane advantage here in the early stage. There is the entire trade pattern of Sona.
Duck in, damage, duck out again. Once you get past level 1, it's then also heal, speed, slow down. It is very much the button masher combo.
Yeah, I think the most broken part of Sona's kit is the exhaust she has, just inbuilt.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. Especially for someone like a Misfortune who's used to running fast. Tofu, very much known quantity. Clown again, there you go. There's that exhaust, and oh boy, the Boomerang Blade has rendered Gavin down to half HP. Those pots are already being chewed through.
Yeah. I think stylistically just a very weird Renata pick. So, I mean, really, it should be thriving in the lane, is what you'd hope out of this pick in general. And then, of course, if team comps run into you, it's very good. But that's not necessarily what the side of the Outcasts are trying to do. More so kiting around and all that good stuff. But here, the Sivir can pretty much just ignore you and push in those minion waves, meaning that Renata doesn't get a whole lot of value. Captain Tofu getting invaded here, but does get his entirety of that Raptors camp. Now, Poltron still looking aggressively in the jungle, but is heading out. Unfortunately, Captain Tofu has misread the situation. Doesn't realize that it's, in fact, Poltron going from his top side to the bot side, so there's nothing for him to find here.
Yeah, it is somewhat of a lead, so I think in terms of timings, he's not going to suffer all that great. In Pantheon, post 6 makes up for that. Once he does get that Grand Skyfall online, he's going to be very proactive around the map. But yeah, an early back there from Clown, unfortunately.
Lots of pings going down, looking for Snoop. Gonna use the Aftershock, or have the Aftershock rather, as Captain Tofu. He doesn't have any jungle camps to clear, so he's gone up to the top side, and BBP trying to kite around, doing a good job. A lot of damage. Does have that overheat, going to be available to himself very shortly. As Captain Tofu still trying to find him. Once he gets those abilities up, you see it on the bottom side of your screen. Does have the stun, and the taunt as well, as Snoop will claim that first blood.
It got a little bit dicey. We've seen what Rumble can do, even in the early levels with that Conquerors. Poltron going to make the most of this opportunity and completely gut Tofu. Yeah, it's a rough gig down in that bot lane now.
Absolutely. Ray's going to have to take that recall. Will get himself a cull and a long sword. I mean, it gets easier once he gets himself that Bloodthirster. Even the Vamp Scepter does a lot to help him, but for the time being, doing a great job down here. Praetive and Clown, once again, they started last game very well. Of course, it was turned around, so we'll see if they're able to replicate that. Also, something we don't usually see here in the Galio versus the Rumble matchup is the Aftershock on Galio. Generally, the phase rush, kiting in and out of that very powerful moment that we're seeing here when he does overheat.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the phase rush as well from the Rumble in that matchup just to avoid that damage when the Galio turns around, but they're both running slightly adjacent to what we expect. Conqueror up for BBP. Unfortunately, wasn't able to fully stack it up, and if he had, maybe that could have been a bit of a turnaround onto Tofu. Unfortunately, not to be.
Fido doing a good job of at least CSing here in the mid lane. Very far ahead. Actually, just CS across the board doing pretty well on the side of Rich Dynasty. Up across the board.
Yeah. Tofu unfortunately lost out pretty heavily on his bot side jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. Snoop turning this around, and this exactly is why we generally do see the phase rush. Does trade back very well for himself, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Ultron maybe even looking for another dive.
I don't...
It certainly could work. He has the flash. He's Cancelled. Yeah, he's definitely looking for this. Nice bit of damage there from Snoop. We'll see how he navigates this. No flash available for him, so it's a little bit difficult. Equalizers there.
BVP.
This does mean Snoop should be close to 6 as well, though. In comes Poltron. Bramble Smash first of all, and here's dodging a lot of damage. Poltron knocked up. He's going to go down to 1 for 1. Not the worst trade of all, but certainly a reasonable find here as BBP does get himself a kill back.
Yeah, but Snoop, you look at the CS difference, he's almost half of what BBP's at currently. So while he's got 2 kills for himself, that's really the only thing that is bridging that gap in the top lane. So, I mean, you look at it, Galio, while yes, not the most desperate for gold, is slipping in a way that could become a second support, essentially.
Potentially. Again, Fido's still doing very well in terms of CS. It isn't growing, but the lead he established, he's keeping it there. Halo finds a nice chunk onto him. Oh dear, and exactly what you can't do. He flashes forward. He does manage to get the reset, but it costs him his flash as well. Unfortunately, not realizing.
Dear.
Gonna cost him out on some minions as well. Halo does have ultimate. Fido staying around here as Poltron and Gavin do come to join him.
So Captain getting some back at the very least, and yeah, Gavin and Poltron rotating up to try and give Fido some support. I mean, I think the big leverage point for Dynasty is going to be in that top lane. The fact that Clown is being as aggressive as he is on the zone is impressive. Oh dear.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming down. It's a hero's entrance used. So a big team fight ultimate has been utilized already, but there's not likely to be that big of a fight coming in the near future. Dragon up, of course. Grubs in 18 seconds. You would have rather had that than not, but you can just give it over reasonably okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they're looking for Tofu. He's on a ward.
Yeah, once again, Tofu just getting targeted out pretty heavily as Gavin is here alongside his jungler. Should just be this blue buff going over. Not really sure what Captain Tofu's staying around for. Poltron gets himself that camp. Has level 6 now. Tofu has to be careful. Clown joining him now.
Yeah, I mean, both bot laners having 6 as well, so, I mean, if we do see a big team fight brew around that Dragon Pit, unfortunately, it's going to be Crabs at the moment, so neither Reigns nor Freydis will be in position to contest this, and I think this is the right call from the Outcasts. Just give up the Grubs, look for that Dragon instead.
Yeah.
Freydis is very strong at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like the side of Rich Dynasty can get there to answer, so a good find. Raze as well, I think, realizing this is an opportunity to cost some minions. We'll just ult that wave, and Praetiv is going to be missing a lot. Halo takes a reasonable chunk of damage as the handshake will connect there, but that rocket jump out does mean Halo will be relatively unscathed. No teleport though, so the damage well and truly sticking.
And Halo's done a decent job of keeping that gap as close as possible in the mid lane. Was slipping a bit behind, but has somewhat stemmed the bleeding. Unfortunately, the same still cannot be said for Snoop to fight. 37 to 63. It hasn't accelerated, which I think is the main thing, but definitely not where you want your Rumble lane opponent to be.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely suffering. In a matchup that's typically, I mean, it's relatively even, but even against Rumble is kind of winning as, yeah, once again, Captain Tofu can't find any leisure in his jungle, is going to get rooted up, is going to have that flash away, is going to have the blast cone.
Oh.
As Fido comes barreling over, the Nature's Grass there, one auto attack will do it and he'll find it. Even drops the ultimate.
Captain Tofu, for a moment, looked like he was just happy to walk on out. I didn't see anything, don't you worry. I'm not going to tell anyone about this, and then unfortunately they decide that he's a much better target than the red buff, and yeah, kill going over to Fido there. Again, just going to accelerate that mid lane, and a Tristana that's accelerated becomes a real problem.
Absolutely. Aggression onto Halo, but is going to be able to get away with that Foxfire. Nice crescendo lands down onto Gavin, and he is going to be taken out. Feat of Warfare claimed. Being picked up there by Captain Tofu. I mean, he's really been struggling to find a camp for himself, but he's found at least 2 kill participations out of the 3 that have occurred so far, and now maybe even looking towards the Scuttle Crab. Poltron waiting in the wings, though, is going to contest it and is going to smite it away. Flash is going to be burnt by him, though.
Yeah, not the be all and end all. The Nature's Grass does come down from a pretty significant range. But Tofu, yeah, making the most of that Grand Skyfall as soon as he ticks over to 6. A great play from him to get themselves at least a feat of warfare, feat of monster slaying. Is a wee way off, both teams only having that 1 tick of progress, and there isn't really a tower that is likely to go down all that soon, bar potentially Snoop defies, and even then that would require a lane swap, which isn't going to happen at this stage.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good. One thing I like about this in comparison to the LCP is there's just good old-fashioned 2v2, 1v1 laning.
Yeah, except there's a 30 CS difference in the top lane. Leandre's has been picked up by BBP.
Yeah, Snoop is certainly suffering.
I think if Snoop had his way, he'd rather Praetor than Clown were playing into the Rumble at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the Phase Rush allows you to play more aggressively in the lane just because you have that added safety where the Rumble can't really chase you down. And so when you have this Aftershock, the immediate short trade is better for the Galio, but Rumble doesn't need the short trades. He can kind of just run at you and beat you in, or beat your head in. And so this is why the lane is favoring BBP just so much.
Absolutely.
We see at least the Galio, a champion that doesn't require the most amount of resources. A great charm out of Halo, but still a lot of damage found from Fido.
Yeah, he's
does have to be careful.
Himself.
Anytime that rocket jump is used, if he doesn't get that reset, it can be very punishing. We saw just before how close he came to death last time, and with more damage coming online for both teams, it does get even more worrisome. Sundered Sky obviously picked up here by Captain Tofu.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the CS trenches in the top side of the rift for the Outcasts. 67 to 100, 61 to 82. So Poltron doing a great job of abusing Captain Tofu's misreading of the situations earlier on in the game.
Yeah, CS just got made a lot easier for Snoop, though, as he picks up that Unending Despair.
Hollowed
Radiance, rather. And also, I want to say the bot lane, while it's even in CS, that's kind of winning when you have a bot lane like Sivir and Sona. Like, if you're coming out of lane as Sivir, Sona even, you're doing pretty well, realistically. And so, not the worst thing of all is Raze, Gab, and everyone here trying to punish Snoop. They're going to get the slow. He is going to use everything he can to try and get away. The taunt even there. There is no follow-up for the time being, but Praetor does have ultimate. They can join. Nice flash. In comes Captain Tofu, and Poltron might be in a pretty rough position. Berserk and Praetor beating Captain Tofu down pretty hard. Flash is not quite there for the Pantheon, so nothing really should come of this.
Poltron. Unfortunately, missed opportunity.
Yep. They do get the flash out of Snoop. Nothing else really lost, so a reasonable fine, but not the hugest advantage of all time. And really, it is BBP once again winning on this Rumble, having that alone time with these waves and with that tower.
Oh, he's almost doubling Snoop at the moment, which is just, I mean, a criminal lead.
Yeah, I think Rune Choice really shows how important it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a very good reason why every single top laner, when playing the Galio in the top, I mean, just regardless of lane, barring support, is running that phase rush.
Yeah, absolutely. Just gives you a lot more mobility. And as a champ, while he does have the Justice Punch, it doesn't provide the most amount of ability, and it's very easily readable. In any case, still game, while it is Rich Dynasty with a lead, it's certainly not out of control just yet. Dragon as well was picked up here. Fido drops the bomb, but Halo finds a nice trade. Again, just a great performance out of him so far in both of these games. Dragon's going to be started up.
Crazy catch on Fido.
No Nature's Grass, so it is possible to contest this, but with the Sivir and the Sona, it doesn't feel all that realistic. Snoop down here though, so it would be a 5v5 if a fight were to break out, and it could even be a fight that determines the rest of this game depending on how it goes. Halo with the ultimate. Poltron's going to be able to get that dragon. Crescendo lands on it too. Halo goes forward. It's a nice chunk of damage. As forward with that Spirit Rush, still he goes. The hero's entrance won't connect onto anyone. Snoop trying to find a way in, but without the flash, doesn't have one. Very low health bars. Captain Tofu not quite able to snipe away at Gavin. As so much damage coming back and forth. Praetor, can he get anything? No, Raze has turned it on him. That's 2 kills going to Raze. Fido, can he get the reset? Clown flashes away. Shut down to the Sona. A 2-for-1 as things stand, but Captain Tofu gets himself one back and will fall for it. One more auto. Doesn't have it.
That was a dangerous game for sure, but I mean, look, you get yourself a decent lead there. Well, it might be 5-5. You get the gold onto some very, very key players and free up some big time to play around the Rift. There you go, Reigns. Has that time to work with down in the bot lane. Will take the first tower. So they open that bot side of the map to maybe look for some plays. And they get the dragon as well. So, I mean, Fido going down, you take that at the end of the day for all the success you found onto rank.
Yeah, and 3k gold lead as well now for the side of Rich Dynasty. So, once again, find themselves in a really good position. I think even better than they found themselves in Game 1. Despite how good Game 1 was looking. Of course, Raze, for the second time in a row, is very well and truly ahead of Praetor. 1k gold advantage for him. Much the same almost in the mid lane. Captain Tofu.
It's going to be a little bit harder for Praetor to get into the back line like he did in the last game.
Yeah, yeah. But admittedly on the Civ, you don't really need to. You can just hit whoever's in front of you. Poltron now starting up on this Rift Shield this time with Nature's Grass coming up soon, but I don't believe that the Outcasts are going to look to contest it, so it should just be a free objective picked up. In the meanwhile, you see on the bottom side of the map, the Outcasts doing a good job of trying to trade something for it, and that bot lane tower is what they're looking towards. But with the Rift Shield picked up and everyone in this top side of the map, Poltron could really look to exploit just how weak the top is. Nature's Grass being used. Halo is just going to be able to walk out. Does use the ult to be sure.
I mean, a great answer back for the Outcast to get this tower at least and gives Snoop a decent amount of time. Oh,
in the mid lane, Halo getting taken very low. Does flash away from the Equalizer, which does not connect onto the Ari. Snoop teleporting in as well, but you see the Rift Shield's down on the top side. Fido gets himself one tower, an inner tower for him is so much gold. Praetor looking for the fight though as Raze is very low in mana. It could be a potential avenue in. Electric Harpoon does connect and does a lot of damage. In comes the Hero's Entrance, will get the knock up onto Poltron, but it's a really good bullet time. Praetor gets one though. Baby Banana Peel going to be able to burn him to a pulp. Down he goes. The Electric Harpoon confirms the kill, and now Fido on the backside of things should be able to come and mop up this team fight. That's one and that's two. 4 members of the side of the Outcast going down, and more objectives to claim.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for. Bit of scrappiness. It was a bold call for the re-engage from the Outcast, given the crescendo had been used not moments before. So really all you had was that Hero's Entrance and potentially a Grand Skyfall play. There was a lot left wanting there in terms of kit for the Outcasts.
Yeah, trying very desperately to find an avenue where it was 4v5, but unfortunately the tools just existed there for Rich Dynasty where they weren't able to find a real passage in, and now hurting in terms of those towers as they've lost quite a lot of objectives. 4 towers already being picked up here by Rich Dynasty to just the one. The Outcasts still scaling away with that Sivir, with that Sonar. If they're able to hold on, there still is passage into this game, but I think from this position, 6k gold advantage, it should be Rich Dynasty taking this one.
Yeah, the problem being is they are playing into 2 AD carries. So while yes, Sivir is very, very good at playing in and around those team fights with the ricochets, definitely is somewhat lacking when it's reduced damage coming out of those blades. So, I mean, when team fight comes, you got Nature's Grasp, the Equalizer coming down, hostile takeover as well, and all that while Fido and Reigns will likely have that uptime. So Outcasts are going to need to find a bit of a flank angle to the backline, likely with the Grand Skyfall Hero's Entrance combo.
Looking to try and get themselves an objective bounty on that top side. Snoop does find a short trade there onto Baby Banana Peel, takes the handshake, and in comes a Nature's Grasp. Praetor's going to have to do a pretty good job of surviving here as the bullet time comes down. A lot of damage on the Snoop to fight, but he does survive, and that's a lot of cooldowns being utilized. Maokai ult alongside that Misfortune ult, and for now at least the tower does remain. Halo has taken his topside tower as well. So not the worst trade of all time here for the Outcasts. They get a little bit of gold back. Don't really lose all that much either, and Halo's continuing forward. Teleport coming out of Baby Banana Peel now as he comes to answer this minion wave, and Halo's going to head home.
Yeah. Captain Tofu and Clown here looking for the angle, but it is a Tristana. Does have the Buster shot up as well, so was likely going to be able to create that gap regardless. Artican, oh, this is a call and a half.
Yeah, Fido trying to start up on this dragon. Does have teleport to go join on the top side of the map, and you see Poltron's very well aware that it's going on. Blue Trinket going down, realizing that There's the Dragon being started up. Halo trying to find his way on the Raze. Raze no flash, Raze no cleanse as well. And a caught out of position as a shutdown claim. That goes to Captain Tofu. Oh, bot, can he get it? Oh, he does!
No.
What a play out of Captain Tofu. Thanks for the leash as he heads back to his team. Tower as well. And an utter collapse on the Rift for Rich Dynasty.
Not the hero that O's deserves, but certainly the hero it needs. Captain Tofu. Looking to embrace another captain of the LCP, Captain Levi, out of Garm Esports. That was certainly a hero play.
Gets the kill, immediately ults to the Dragon, gets the last hit. There's 500 HP in it. Very thankful, I think, that it was the Mountain Dragon with how much resistance it has. Now, Artican's still on the Rift, and the gold lead's still very much in favor of Rich Dynasty, but that's bought them quite a bit of time. BBP now starting up on this Artican, and the rest of Rich Dynasty there to join him. They will almost certainly take it with no one in position to contest. And with a champ like Tristana, a very important objective to take. Reset's made it even more powerful with the fact that you are just constantly slowing. Ooh.
Slow so powerful it even affects the observer. But yeah, I mean, look, Outcasts do have that global threat, unfortunately, when it comes to teamfight time. They've been suffering much the same way that Rich Dynasty were in that last one.
Absolutely.
So, look, you got to respect Rich Dynasty being able to play these teamfights as well as they are. They've adjusted. Clearly, they've identified what was going wrong.
Now, Sivir, Praetor on the Sivir, has his 2 items. He's got Infinity Edge second. So quite often we do see the Navori, but maybe realizing the timer on this map is a little lower, so wanting to go for just higher damage. Lower rotations, higher damage. With the Yuntal, it does lead itself to be the more optimal of the item pickups. Be interesting to see how many stacks this Sona has.
Oh, BBP.
Yeah, nice harpoon. Clown very squishy, of course, on the Sona. 92 stacks, you can see there in the bottom left. So 30-ish away from having that full stack where you start getting lowered cooldowns. Teleport coming in the back. There's Snoop, finds a 2-man taunt. The bullet time, everything coming through. The hostile takeover is great. Praetor not able to find a single auto attack just yet as the tower will go down. In comes the hero's entrance though.
No.
Raze in the middle of everything. Does get one. Looking for a second. And some way, somehow, they've navigated it to perfection. Even Poltron getting the last hit with the burn, and it's Praetor up against 5 to try and defend.
Unfortunately, the wave is a wee way off, so they're just going to have to clear this, hope that it comes in quickly enough. Luckily, they will have time. This should be bot inhib going down. There's just not going to be the support they need to stop it. And I mean, Rich Dynasty, they surely cannot look for more. And they won't. Smart call.
I'm going to back away. Inhibitor down. Obviously, for the Outcast, the one saving grace is that they do have the Sivir, meaning the super minions are pretty easy to deal with for them. If they are starting to push into your base, if you get that recall off, she'll clear them out very quickly. Dragon will be spawning now in a minute 40, but it's a Dragon that I really don't think the Outcast should be contesting, being the state of the map at the moment. Just trying to get Praetor some more items. He's got that Cloak of Agility working towards most likely an attack speed item, I imagine the Navori, but it could also be just some armor pin. Not that a whole lot of armor has been purchased.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at how hard Fido's going to be hitting now as well. He is an absolute monster. They are looking for him up in that top side, though.
Yeah, numbers up there. XP leads mostly across the rift here for the side of Rich Dynasty, as is a lead just in almost every regard. Baron spawning at 15 seconds.
He's come back in a pretty big way.
Yeah, for sure. Still not having the greatest success of finding avenue into these fights. I mean, 2-man taunt last fight, unfortunately, that was the one that went the poorest. Such as Murphy's Law.
A classic here in Oceania.
Baron being started up immediately here. Is there any way that the side of the Outcast can get in here? The Galio on the bot side does have teleport to join his team, but he really needs to be there because turning this is quite an easy job, ultimately. You see BBP and Gavin, as well as Raze actually sitting out there. Snoop teleporting in from the back, but that's a Baron gone down already. This will be the hero's entrance coming through. Captain Tofu right in the back line as Snoop finds his way onto 3. Gavin's going to be taken out. He does have the hostile Toko, but he gets it through, but he does go down. Praetor gets 1 kill. Snoop will be going down as well. That is, for the time being, a 1-for-1. Baron, however, picked up. Teleport now coming through, and it is going to be Fido. And what has Fido done? Oh, he's made the play! What a buster shot straight back into the team. Only Captain Tofu survives as marching into the base. Go Rich Dynasty.
Oh lord, yeah, BBP teleport straight down to that bot lane with the super minions charging on in. Tofu against the world. Look, that was a very aggressive play out of Fido. You got to respect it because the buster shot lands him right in the middle of the rest of the team. They mop it up so cleanly. And we are going into game 3 at 1 apiece.
Absolutely, Captain Tofu, absolutely no way he is able to defend here, although Snoop survives. Snoop has spawned, but unfortunately is not going to have the damage as Raze will take the kill, take the Nexus, and game 2 rather, does go the way of Rich Dynasty, now 1 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, that was... Look, it was always going to be a bit harder going to the later stages of the game, playing into 2 AD carries, but I mean, you can't overlook the impact that BBP and Poltron had that game. BBP consistently kept Snoop down. He really wasn't much of a champion come the later stages of the game, despite some really impressive plays on the Galio, and then Poltron, again, aggressively, consistently looking to try and put Captain Tofu under the pump. Even with a Miracle Steal on the Pantheon, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, impressive macro play in that regard, right? They find their pick onto Raze, immediately ult, get that Dragon. I think that was the highlight of the game there for the side of the Outcasts. But Rich Dynasty, honestly, they get far ahead in the early stage of the game, much as they did in game 1, but this time they hold that lead, they don't give over too much, and they're able to progress the game into the more natural way it should go. And part of that is just, again, when you look at these team compositions, it's very, very difficult for the Outcast to ever face check into this Maokai, just because there's no one really that can tank up that Maokai. You have the Pantheon, he can put down the shield, but as soon as that's gone, his potential in the fights is a lot weaker. He's also ulting into the back line. You've got Snoop in the back line, and then you've just got these squishy characters walking straight into a Nature's Grasp, sort of like a pinata, essentially, at that point.
Oh, absolutely, and then Equalizer on top of it. It's not even worth talking about with how quickly they would have gone down, so there really wasn't that great option. They did sort of somewhat back themselves into it a bit with the draft, and I mean, Snoop, like I said, really struggled to play that game. I mean, it was what, 120 to 70 CS at one point. He was just, even despite finding those 2 kills up in the top side very early on, he was at such a significant deficit that he really was just going to struggle. And like you said, the rest of the draft didn't really synergize with a Pantheon and Galio who want to go into the back line, and 3 very, very squishy champions who just can't face Tango the rest of it. And ultimately, that's what allowed Rich Dynasty to take what they did across the map.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, the one saving grace, again, much as we said about the last game, is now Rumble is going to be removed. And that is, again, one of BBP's best champions. So I think a sigh of relief there for the Outcast. But momentum now once again goes the way of Rich Dynasty. Now we are going to go to a break. Once we're back, game number 3 should be getting underway. So we'll see you very shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Game number 3 on the horizon, 1 apiece now after Rich Dynasty were able to take victory in Game 2. And I think ultimately when I look at both the games, a lot of it has come down to the team compositions, where one team, you get these team fights, very scrappy games, and when you have the more easy to execute on front-to-back team fight, it generally does benefit you, and that's what we saw in Game 1 when the Outcasts won. That's what we saw in Game 2 when Rich Dynasty won.
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure going to be quite interesting now going into Game 3. We always get some, interesting picks, although I'd say that we've had interesting picks make their way in through Games 1 and 2, so there is still a lot of very, very strong picks. I mean, we haven't seen the Xin Zhao at all come through yet. The Vi's still available, Varus still available in the bot lane. I mean, Aurora was banned out. You've got so many of these very, very strong mid laners as well, so Olaf, again, it's these pocket picks you were talking about, which really has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works for these drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. Olaf and Aurora once again going to be banned away. The Rek'Sai much the same so far. The same bans, different order, but same bans. Outcast going to go for the Varus as well. See if we round it out in the exact same way as we have so far. Of course, there is still some pocket picks available, like the Teemo in the jungle. Aurora taken away from Fido, and then Orianna in Kind. And there is the Vi.
Yeah, there goes the Vi. So we are seeing some of those big power picks being taken away. But I mean, you look at it, Olaf, Rek'Sai, not ones that you necessarily expect. And like I said, power of the pocket picks coming through. I mean, in terms of what we've seen, that strong Desire stands out to me still being open. Victor in the mid lane, reasonably strong so long as the draft pairs well around it, and that can be problematic. Not a mid lane champion that likes to go forward all that much, plays a lot better when you're kiting into an opponent's the opponent's coming forward at you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Victor, if you do get to the later stage of the game, is very powerful, but it's these mid-game skirmishes that it does suffer quite a bit. And on the other side of things here for Halo, the Azir. So, I mean, Azir just very much the stronger of the two champions in general, but in terms of the lane phase, perfectly fine for the Victor. In fact, generally is going to be stronger. Now, where the Victor is going to suffer is the fact there is a Jarvan being locked in. He can be locked into one of those cages. If he does have flash down, he becomes a bit of a sitting duck. Neferi, a great answer to the Jarvan in isolation here for Poltron.
Yeah, I mean, something that you and I haven't seen all that much in the LCP since beginning split 2. Yeah. Mid-season was the last time I remembered. It was only for the first couple of weeks, and then it sort of just fell completely out of favour. So yeah, I mean, look, they've got a lot of strength already being shown by Rich Dynasty. Pacing-wise, they do, I think, make up for some of the weaknesses that the other have. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dynasty round this comp out. Of course, I mean, for the Victor, you can have a lot of control in those team fights. You want something in the top side. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so it's going to be just a Corki in the bot lane. They're going to hold that top pick for later on.
Yeah, so Corki going to be good against the Jarvan, also a very strong laner. So we'll see what down on the bot side the Outcasts have to answer it. Of course, they can just lock in their top laner here with a couple of bans surrounding it. We'll see if that is the option they go towards. Senna going to be picked up here for... Oh, no. Going towards the Jinx.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, a strong champion, absolutely, if you're given the right environment. Now, I imagine some bans towards enchanters will come through for Rich Dynasty, but first of all, the Braum taken away from Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, with the Jarvan shot thrown, with the Jinx and the Azir, it's already getting some value. Lulu, yeah, Jinx Lulu has seen a lot of play, especially in the LCP wildcard qualifiers. It's made its way through a number series. So denying that powerhouse away from the Outcasts in the bot lane makes a lot of sense. I mean, what else are you looking to target here in the top lane? What is you got that you can take away from BVP that's going to be all that influential? I think you probably get more value out of taking away supports with what's been drafted already, so potentially something along the lines of Alistar, Leona, Rel.
Probably the Rel again, I imagine, just knowing what Gavin leads towards. It's one of his better champs, so here, lesser so than like in the likes of the LCP, you take away some of these comfort picks and it does bode well for you generally. We might have a era with our overlay. Some bans should have come through. Just giving us anticipation, I think.
I mean, in terms of Jinx, I mean, we've seen the Lulu, we've seen the Yuumi, we've seen, I mean, your standard engaged supports, but I mean, realistically, with what's been drafted already, I mean, you could look something along the lines of an Alistar. You follow up on that combo, there's going to be a lot of CC lockdown. I mean, yeah, look, it's going to suffer a little bit into the Victor, But, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got the tools to deal with that. You've got enough powerhouse between the Azir and the Jinx on the back line that you can comfortably, as the Alistar, go and play your life and just set up so much for the team. So I wouldn't hate that, again. But, again, maybe there still could be that inkling that they want to go the Enchantress route, which has been so strong with the Jinx in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of do expect that to be the route they go. I mean, last game kind of, I won't say inexplicably, but the Sona pick obviously being an Enchanter alongside the Sivir, where you could have gone for an engaged tool against the likes of the Maokai to be able to tank up those Nature Grasps, the ultimate. But here, if you're going to pick the Jinx, it does sort of lean itself towards going for that Enchanter, playing the let's get behind, get down Mr. President strat, where you are just trying to throw your eggs into that Jinx basket. I mean, alongside it, of course, even if the Jinx is in the head, you can still use that Enchanter to buff up the Azir, who very well can take over these fights as the game does progress. So you can go anything, really. You go the Enchanter, you can buff up your team, you can go the Engage and try and allow access into the fights, try and get someone picked off so you get those resets and then the Jinx becomes empowered that way. There really is a lot of options. I don't think any one way is better than the other, especially before seeing the support on the other side of things, right? If you go and you see the other team has picked the Ral alongside the Corki, well then all of a sudden you can go like the Jinx Karma, and then you're going to have a strong lane up against what is Corki, who really wants to be ahead early game. So there's a lot to play. We will get the draft up and running once again, or at least get into the game soon. I do believe the draft has actually gone fine for them. It's just the visual of it has fallen apart.
Yeah, I mean, look, realistically, either Rel or Alistar gets banned away, and they just take the other for Rich Dynasty in that bot lane, and then you just look to make. I mean, it's going to be an engaged support, I think, regardless. It's just a matter of who gets banned, who gets left available. And in the top lane, that is where things get a little bit interesting. I mean, what are you looking for both sides in the top lane? The Victor and the Fury, maybe you're looking for that front line to just, enable that longevity for the Victor to play in these team fights, allow the Corki to just keep pumping out damage, something along the lines of a Scion maybe, but what do you then bring on the other side of it?
I mean, possibly
there's options, but again, these one tricks or these pocket picks that keep coming through could throw that spanner in the works. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, for the side of BBP, he plays quite a few things. I mean, the Ambessa stands out as something that he plays quite a lot of that hasn't been picked up. For Snoop, though, he typically is. I mean, he's kind of like a three-trick where he plays a lot of the Camille, he plays a lot of the Fiora, and he plays a lot of the Kennen. He has a Rallier in there as well. So we haven't seen any of those champs. 2 tanks so far. The Scion is like the reasonable tank that's left open alongside the Cassante. So he might go towards one of those. BBP, I expect to see something like the Renekton, like the Ambessa, which is more typical of him. It'll be interesting to see once we do eventually head into the game, because I mean, if there is an angle where, for some reason, BBP takes the likes of the Scion, then you can very well expect that something like the Camille will come out for Snoop, and he's going to feel a whole lot more comfortable up in that top side. You won't find him with that massive deficit that he was at last game, and then the game could look entirely different because, again, I mean, BBP on the Rumble last game provided so much power for them in those team fights by just even dropping the equalizer, but also getting right in the face of that Sivir and taking her out pretty consistently.
I mean, the Renekton would be a brilliant pick, I think, for BBP in the middle of the team fight. So, I mean, realistically, yeah, there's plenty of options, and until we get back to it, we're not really going to know. But, I mean, having a look back at that last game, you see what was drafted for both sides. They had a very, very clear identity. Unfortunately, there was always just going to be that ticking clock for the side of the Outcasts, playing into not just a Misfortune, but a Tristana as well. Once they hit sort of that 15-minute mark, you look at the intel's online already, they're doing so much damage. And unfortunately for the Outcasts, they really kind of needed to out-macro the Rich Dynasty team. They just never were given the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just fight and fight again. Like here, it looks like, okay, Raze might go down. He has the healing there. Doesn't even need to use the bailout. Just completely runs through the fight alongside just how much damage they have between the Tristana, between the Misfortune, of course, the Rumble. Yeah, I mean, it's a good look in. They find their way onto 2. Gavin gets taken out into that bailout very early on, but unfortunately not really able to capitalize all that well, as you'll see here, just able to run forward. Fido teleports in and finds the insect play on the Tristana.
I mean, that was the craziest call, especially given how close that Margin Barbera was for the charm coming out of Halo as well. If that had hit it like half second earlier, that play does not go ahead. Fido just dies for next to nothing, and there's a good chance that the Outcasts walk it out and the game lasts a little bit longer. But that's not what happens. That's not how League of Legends works. Sometimes the skill timing just doesn't go your way, and ultimately it is sort of that final nail in the coffin for Rich Dynasty.
Absolutely. We are now on the Rift for game number 3. So 1 apiece as we head into it. Outcasts, unfortunately, falling in the second. We'll see if they're able to sort of realign their mental, get back into it here. as we see once again some early skirmishing between the two supports.
Okay. So I'd have to imagine that potentially Alistar was banned and Clown might be in a bit of trouble here.
Okay, so yeah, Clown, of course, it was the Outcast that did have first pick out of that second phase of bans. They go for the Rel, taking it away from Gavin, and then you see in the top side the Ambessa versus the Renekton matchup, something we've seen time and time again. It is Renekton favoured for the early stages of the game, but eventually the Ambessa is able to outlast. Now, one thing we have seen in the LCP of late, and actually it was Kiaya, who, for my money, is kind of the best top laner in the region. He actually goes into this matchup and just takes himself the Grasp anyway. So he has a stronger laning phase by going Grasp and punishing the Ambessa even more. So this time, I mean, Snoop going the more traditional route with that Conqueror does lean him to have more power in the team fights, but it is going to make the lane a little bit more manageable for Baby Banana Peel.
Absolutely. I mean, we did talk about it, and I'm not all that surprised that this is the matchup we went into. It definitely feels like that Galio pick was somewhat of an outlier. Both his teams having top laners that are very happy to skirmish.
Absolutely. It's the Rel up against the Leona, very even in terms of those support matchups, but in terms of team fight impact, generally very favoured towards the Rel now. Captain Tofu looking for a level 2 gank. It's something that not many champions are very capable of these days, but Jarvan's one of them that is, and that's Fido's flash lost very early on, but Poltron is here to punish.
Coming in. So yeah, Tofu's just good. So it's going to be flash for flash, so it's a great re-engage for Poltron, but they're not done.
Yeah, Captain Tofu doesn't have flash for himself, does have the flag and drag, and Halo's going to take a lot of damage here. Importantly, though, that is flash now lost for Fido. At least on the Jarvan, you do have that mobility available to yourself. Snoop looking to stop the invade.
Cleanse has gone down on Reigns as well in the bot lane.
And Poltron's only going to be level 2 off the back of this camp, so he is still going to be the same level as Snoop, who does manage to find his way on to this Neferi and is doing a lot of damage to him. Halo not going to be able to respond, so it's just a bit of damage. Going to at least keep those Krugs up and available for Captain Tofu, who, similarly to last game, is going to be suffering in the jungle a little bit, but this time off his own volition.
Looks like Clown made a play down on the bot lane. Flash Ignite gone for the cleanse of Reigns. So, I mean, they aggressively looking on this Corki already, trying to establish some presence.
Absolutely. Another change we see in difference between the LCP and here is, in general, it doesn't matter what support is being picked, they all just go Spellbook. Here we've just had a pretty consistent Guardian or Aftershock matchup, so again, just slight differences between what we see generally as Praetor as well as Clown in a pretty rough position. Clown, of course, without summoners, and Praetor trying to trade aggressively, but Reigns with the Valkyrie, a lot of damage, and Poltron comes down here to get 2 kills very quickly onto the board for the side of Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you're looking for. Rich Dynasty want to accelerate, and Poltron is already shown in that last game and even the first that he's happy to look aggressively where he finds those opportunities. And you wouldn't have thought it that Neferi would be the one, setting up plays like that. But because of how overextended Praetor and Clown were, it was just such an easy jump in from him.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, another good look so far.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Snoop taking a lot of damage here. Certainly not how you'd hope this lane matchup does go, but Captain Tofu as well as Clown here to try and alleviate the pressure. Snoop's still going to have to go back and teleport back to his lane. BBP doing a great job of controlling this top lane. All 3 games, realistically.
I mean, he's the highest level on the Rift at the moment. He's having a grand old time. Absolutely streaking ahead, and that could be hugely problematic, especially with the champions that you see drafted here by Outcasts. Going to later stages, one good public execution can really just gut their team fight.
Absolutely. Snoop coming back to lane. Trades relatively evenly. Is down a little bit of damage, 5 AD. There's a difference between 2 longswords and a pickaxe. And once again, BBP doing a great job.
PvP's going to hit 6 first, though, realistically.
Snoop trading very heavily. I mean, one of these minions is going to give 6 over. Doesn't even need it. Trading in a massive minion wave and still coming out on top there, BBP, as Gavin lands a hook, but he's straight into that tower, and now Praetor can have some alone time with Gavin. Crash down is going to be flashed away from.
That's the answer, of course. Triple longswords up on the top side. But, I mean, BBP Still, finds that solo kill. Gets that wave crash into the tower. Unfortunately, having teleported in, Snoop is just going to have to run it back. Doesn't even have that dominus. So, it's just, again, another great situation for Rich Dynasty. They found an advantage, and it just seems to snowball.
Yeah, 1.5k gold, and the game has barely even started. Gavin will find another Zenith Blade onto Clown. McClown's going to look to turn around. Ignite going to be used here on the Reigns, but Captain Tofu's here. This is going to be a reset coming through for Praetor. Poltron is coming down, though. This is going to be a very excited Jinx. If he can get one more auto attack, the flash forward does give it to him. But so much damage coming back in return. Rage flashes. They get another one. Double kill for Praetor, who's able to just sprint in the opposite direction. And a good fight found in the bottom lane here for the Outcasts.
If only Poltron was 6, that looks drastically different. He mops up the fight pretty cleanly, but no, timing is not on his side. He's still only level 4, and Praetor gets himself a pretty significant investment of cash off what was both sides somewhat overcommitting a little.
Absolutely. Poltron, much the same as in game 1, going to look for an early dragon. Slightly later this time, uses a first smite on it, does have another charge for himself coming up. Captain Tofu all the while going to be looking towards these top lane camps, trying to get level 6 online. Fido, of course, has weathered the storm and will have flashback and available, so that added level of safety for him.
Yeah,
Snoop, can't really say the same about him.
Trying to get some prio mid lane, and it has allowed them to then take this dragon, of course, but I mean, Jinx getting to the stage that she is now. BF Sword's picked up already. 7.5 minutes is going to be working well on towards those Untiles, I'd imagine.
Oh, the trade's coming out of BVP. It's looking rough at the moment up on that top side. Of course, with, you know, how many melee champs there are, the Renekton tends to thrive in the fights. Level 6 as well becomes a lot harder for the Ambassador to find a winning fight, but still just poking around short trades, doing very well for it. You're seeing it just, oh, landing everything.
What a champion. Thank goodness there's no Ambassador Doombot.
Oh, the Lee Sin one's bad enough.
Oh, they're all pretty egregious, especially when you just end up running into Caitlyn mid lane every game.
Yeah, true. I think Lee Sin's the worst. Halo coming in, though. Fido has the flash this time, but having to run away. Chaos Storm going to be put down. Flash away from Halo. Nice knock up from Captain Tofu, but not going to be able to find all that much off the back of it. Just a lost summoner for the side of the Outcasts. Halo, though, on the Azir at least has some mobility in his kit. Should be okay.
And this time, the CS leads aren't as bad as they were in the last game. Snoop's having a much better time for himself. Still down, but it could have been. It was far, far worse in the Rumble versus Galio matchup. Poltron takes the first grab. He's going to dodge away.
Untargetable. Has the jump still maybe for himself, not for the time being, and he's locked up in a cage. Will be taken down. That's Snoop getting himself one. Gavin, no flash, trying to run away to the blast cone, but it's hit by Snoop, and he's back into the thick of things. He's going to be taken out as well. Trying to give it over to Praetor, but just off the mark with that super mega death rocket. Still, all the while, Ray's going to be able to take himself at least some plates. Nonetheless, a definite win here for the side of the Outcasts. They even up that kill score in gold much the same.
Halo sends it on down to catch that wave that Ray had just shoved into the tower. Tofu as well. Going to collect the other 2 grubs here. So great looking from him. Gives Snoop a bit of a lifeline in that top lane. And a matchup that was getting a bit rough into BVP. But Dominus up now and available. Finds himself 2 kills. That evens things out pretty significantly.
Absolutely. Still, this top lane is where most of the suffering's happening, but those 2 kills going to do a lot here for Snoop as both the top laners looking towards the Eclipse. Now, Baby Banana Peel hasn't backed in a while, is going to do so now. Might even have the item for himself with how much of a CS advantage he's found.
Yeah, I think so. He'd be pretty darn close. No, okay, so he's stuck around at the top lane, so he's not even going to go back and get it just yet.
Yeah, he might be close to it.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want Snoop to set that wave up, and Fido.
Looking bot, Fido does have flash this time. Clown not going to connect on the Q, so should be able to get away.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a decent amount of team fighting power. Gavin just needs to hit 6 so he can have that solar flare online. Clown in much the same boat, realistically. But just with the amount of AoE damage coming through from Rich Dynasty when it comes to that 5v5, these health bars drain pretty quickly for the Outcasts.
Absolutely. BBP now with that Eclipse online, so this is where the lane, especially with the discrepancy in items and levels, becomes very difficult for Snoop. Down 2 levels, down a completed item. Of course, he's close to his Eclipse himself, but being close does not give you even nearly the same power as actually having it. Halo's coming up here, though. Nice Solar Flare lands directly on a Praetor. He's going to pop the cleanse. Rain's going to try and flash away. Clown not going to connect on the crash down. His teleport coming through. This is going to be Fido! Praetor is going to go down under the tower, but Poltron might fall there and after and will do so. A 1-for-1 teleport used. Flash forward from Fido. Might find one himself. Will eventually go down as well, though, as the tower ramped up does take him out. 2 kills to the victor. And a lot of alone time here at the tower for the side of Rich Dynasty. Snoop teleporting down to answer that massive minion wave, and is just going to slice and dice. Does get stunned up, but only taking a reasonable chunk of damage. So we make a death rocket. Oh dear! Raze with the flash away, able to just get clear. The vision was there, but unfortunately not quite the damage. Halo now, dealing with the top. Oh no. Oh no. Clown goes in, not able to find the knockup, not able to find the Magnet Storm. It does mean Raze does get away and unfortunately cost Clown his flash and his ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to my PC. There's the fighting was so hectic it lagged me out.
Oh, classic. That's
But I'm back.
what you get for not making the trek to Auckland.
Sunday. Don't you worry. We'll be in studio.
The Tears of Guthick's Cave.
That's the one.
Still, Clown, you actually missed one of the highlight plays of the game so far, I think.
I saw Ray going down. He got flashed on by Snoop and then rocketed.
No, he lived. He lived.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then there and after, Clown flash altered and he got the recall off in time. It was close. Dragon is up and Poltron first to it once again, looking for the second of the game. Doing a really good job of controlling these objectives has Poltron for the duration of the tournament, and of course in this head-to-head so far. Spirit Shojin online for him. It's going to be the Thunder Sky once again here for Captain Tofu. Reasonably close affair, 1k gold advantage going the way thus far of Rich Dynasty, but of course, again, this Jinx is just an inevitable time bomb, as unfortunately in the bot side, Fido no flash this time, might just be going down, but the mobility not there for Snoop and Captain Tofu. Now they're the ones getting looked at. Good flag and drag. Snoop going to get hit by that Zenith Blade as Poltron goes diving on into the tower. A bit of healing there for Snoop, but he is taken out. 2 kills going the way of Rich Dynasty. Once again, the tower will fall there and after.
Again, just sort of smoking through a mirror situation. They look like they've got an angle in to maybe catch Fido, but the rest of the team, they're just immediately collapsing in down onto Tofu and Snoop to find. Meanwhile, BBP just hasn't really had to get involved in anything. He's a man unto himself.
Yeah, he is exceedingly far ahead. As is after that play, the entirety of Rich Dynasty. Once again, we're in a position where Praetor, really, it all falls on him. Halo's doing a good job for the 3rd game in a row, realistically, but not getting the most amount of gold income. He's not getting those kills like Fido has been able to do so.
Yeah, it's just not been the greatest of angles for Azir in this game so far, but I mean, again, just scale up. You've got a Jinx in the game as well. The longer this goes, the more of a menace he, Praetor and Halo realistically become.
Now, next objective will be the Rift Herald. 30 seconds away, and again, it's Rich Dynasty with complete control over it, as has been the case pretty much the duration of the series. Halo trying to find some damage there onto Gavin, who does get knocked up by that crash down. Clear out that pink ward, create a bit of space for themselves, but Raze, he walks straight into a Jarvan. Does have the Valkyrie still, is going to use it, gets clipped by the Super Mega Death Rocket, and Captain Tofu able to take him out.
Yeah, that standard of his hits pretty darn hard. Dropping the lance, and I mean, taking that Corki off the map, slowing down his progress is going to be just absolutely invaluable, because those rockets are going to be doing so much damage at range and in those team fights. BBP, really, yeah, this guy is literally the embodiment of top lane. He is an island.
Yeah, now looking to join his team, teleporting up into that top lane, trying to stop that tower from being taken out by Halo. It does mean now a 4v4 for the time being, as Snoop does not have teleport to join his team. Really important here for the side of Rich Dynasty to find their way on a Praetor. A reset for this Jinx could be disastrous for them. They have the tools through this Ambassador and through both the Solar Flare alongside the Neferi as they look towards this Rift Herald. They have complete priority over it, and the Outcast not looking to contest.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world giving that over. And just with the map pride that Rich Dynasty have, and Bessa being in the vicinity is the last thing I think Outcast wants in these team fights. So they're just happy to let that go over. You can play around it easily enough.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Again, BBP taking a reasonable amount of damage from Halo. Poltron's here to try and defend him, try and take down this top tower. Pretty dominant performance so far in the macro game from the side of Rich Dynasty, as has been the case for the most of the series.
Yeah, I mean, they looked phenomenal last game. Poltron was being incredibly proactive even in game 1. But again, Halo just itching to find his opportunity here to rip that Azir combo out. And when it does, I mean, it's a pretty terrifying prospect for whoever's caught. I mean, Raze does not have the flash at the moment, so would be the likeliest of targets.
At least has some safety in the Valkyrie, of course.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately for the Outcast, they are really trying to get Praetor to his items. Once he gets those, the team fight becomes a whole lot stronger. Much the same for Halo, who now does have that Nash's online. So a bit more power here for the Azir. No objective to speak of for the next 45 seconds until that dragon spawns. And Poltron on the top side is going to be looking towards taking down this tower. There's no way Snoop can stand up to defend it, so it will be going down. It's going to be the second of the game.
Yeah, just opening up these side lanes gives a decent amount of prio. Of course, then means that you can just drop that Herald mid lane, crack all the outer towers, Praetor.
Dropping the traps. Making sure Poltron can't just jump straight onto him, getting himself the honey fruit too to top himself up in terms of that health. Snoop does have teleport this time, can come down and join his team, but Praetor takes a sizable chunk, thankfully. It is the Ocean Soul, so he does get himself yet another honey fruit.
Absolutely. Ward there spots Poltron, so they are well aware that he's marching on in.
Nice sidestep from Halo, does get caught by the second one, and goes Captain Tofu. That's a 3-man stack there. Can they get the reset for Jinx? No, stunned up. That's the cleanse gone. They're looking for one, but it's really, really good public execution. Poltron just narrowly getting out, but there's the reset. The damage isn't there, though, as BBP culls him down. Clown nowhere to go. Raze much the same. It is so far a 2 for 3. Snoop still strong in the back line, but Banana Peel even stronger. That's the Renekton down. That's the team fight down, and an ace going the way of Rich Dynasty.
Oh, that was an absolute monstering. Halo gets his one, but off the back of himself being engaged on Praetor, can't look for those resets. He's so close to the IE as well. He's just overwhelming this team fight coming out of the Dynasty. You look at it between the damage of Fido and Reigns, and then BBP on the back line. I mean, that was just brutal. And they even get the mid lane tower as well. Herald's still in the pocket of Poltron for the moment.
Yeah, that is going to be the dragon going down. Third of the game now, sole point for Rich Dynasty, as they are well and truly ahead yet again. Unfortunately, not able to get to these Jinx items on the side of the Outcasts. Makes this game a whole lot harder to navigate. 2 items coming through across the board for the side of Rich Dynasty, whereas we're only sitting at 1 and a bit the whole way down that lineup of the Outcasts.
Yeah, I mean, pacing-wise, Rich Dynasty, again, like you said, the macro game has translated into some decent leads. Now, Outcast looking like their only option is to Death Brush, look for an angle onto BBP, and I think he's the last person that you want that angle onto.
He's going to have to flash away. Halo finds his way in. The stun is there. He's going to get knocked up. This is a shutdown, really important. They try and get it to the Azir, but he's still living, and shutdown does get picked up. Halo gets a nice injection of gold, but on the other side, Snoop's going to be jumped on. Fido coming up to join in the fight as Raze comes down as well, and it's a trade. Both top laners going down. Rift Herald placed in the mid lane. Poltron's going to be able to get this tower. There's already one taken. Hops in. Praetor has to be careful. He's going to get knocked up. There it goes. Poltron gets knocked up much the same. No, able to dodge away from it, and Solar Flare does go wide. Raze behind the tower, though. He is out of position. He having to run away as Captain Tofu fighting Poltron should get taken down in the near future. Gavin, much the same, though. There's a reset for Praetor. Can they find their way onto Raze? He is turning around. He's doing a lot of damage. And flash forward. Chaos Storm. Praetor might just go down, and he will. Rich Dynasty playing the team fight about as well as they could. Able to find yet another win as Halo who was so strong on his Azir, nowhere to be seen after that kill in the top side.
Yeah, he got the tier 1, but that was about it. And unfortunately, I think we've been spoiled a little bit by LCP top laners in there and best of play. Not quite what we got out of BBP there. They played it very, very well to mitigate his ability to escape his slipperiness. And then, of course, just an absolute shellacking down on the bottom side of the rift as they collapse it and wipe the remaining members of Outcasts who are very much out of position.
And this will be the other Khan being picked up. No one in the area to respond to it as Snoop is close, but 1v4 is not a fight he's going to be able to take. He spots it, goes down, and again, Rich Dynasty getting more across the map.
26 of those flowers from the Outcasts. So, I mean, look, if Rich Dynasty was strong already, they're even stronger now, especially with those items coming through too for everyone. And some big ones at that.
Still no IE for Praetor, who's going to get locked down by the Solar Flare, but everyone is here, so nothing found. Gavin's going to get locked up. This could be a reset very quickly for Praetor. I don't know what else they can find. The Super Mega Death Rocket's not going to lock him down. Just being able to survive thanks to that locket.
Yeah. I mean, a bleak situation at best. And Leona just being such a unit, especially with that Aftershock as well. Potentially, I mean, more than likely, that was definitely a kill without, if it was unsealed spellbook, so Rune's definitely benefiting Gavin here. This should be the mid tier 1 though.
Absolutely, teleport coming through, Potter on the backline, but he's locked down. He does go invulnerable, not able to be found, and he does get the kill. Just 1v1s in the middle of 4 people, takes down the AD carry here of the Outcasts as Captain Tofu falls. In comes a public execution, so much damage. Halo not able to respond, and the gravity well is just so damn good as a triple kill found for Fido.
A massive Arcane Storm by the end of it. Some big kills going the way of Fido. 8-1-7 for himself at the moment. And Gavin Rays and BBP will march down on to that tier 3. The inhib as well. Unfortunately, the respawn time is that low that they just can't end the game here. They're still 2 minutes out from Baron even.
Yeah, it's a very quick game, which started off more even than the last 2, but has absolutely ran away. 7k gold advantage, actually almost 8 after that tower gets taken down. As really struggling. I mean, look at the difference between the bot laners and mid lane.
There is the jungle.
Yeah, less important than I think the carry lanes are.
Oh, absolutely, but the fact that Poltrot on the Neferi can jump into the back line of 5 and still get their kill onto Praetor and almost find a reset onto Halo.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, the wallet gap just well and truly pretty insurmountable. As we take a look at the replay, just gets in there, he's in the middle of 4 people, takes out Praetor. Yes, he falls, but by then the job is already done. Once Praetor's removed from the fight, there's not all that much damage. Fido comes in alongside BBP, and there's just absolutely nothing going.
Look at those ticks. Oh, picture in picture.
Yeah, Gavin getting taken down very low, but he is going to be able to survive for now. BBP in the back line. 2 already falling on the Outcast. Halo and Praetor running for their damn lives as in comes BBP. And out go the Outcasts. It's 5v Tofu. And with the mid lane inhib down, all Gavin needs to do is chase. And this is game 3, an absolute wrap.
My lord, this is just an absolute canyon gap right now. Rich Dynasty, not quite going to be the reverse sweep, but they take it forward. Gavin does fall, but much of a muchness in all honesty. BBP, again, massive plays out of him for this Rich Dynasty roster, and Clown can do nothing but scream into the void. That is his empty base right now, and they're even going to pad the stats. Snoop's gone. He knows. He read what was written on the wall. An absolute monster. It looked even, like you said, between the 2, but as soon as we hit that 15-minute mark, it just spirals out of contention.
Absolutely, and once again, game 2 picked up by Rich Dynasty. Game 3 picked up by them again. They're now on series point as they look to make it to the lower bracket finals, but nothing going there. I mean, the team composition, for my money, actually pretty even this time round. But again, BBP up in that top lane, just so much impact. Gets the solo kill first of all, and then every team fight he was involved in thereafter was just an absolute trouncing. And so for now, I mean, you've got 10 minutes essentially for the side of the Outcasts to try and get everything realigned. I think it's time now that we look towards giving Snoop one of his comfort picks. Notably, Camille has not been banned. That's his best champion. It's a champion he's played by far the most of in League of Legends. I think it's time we just put him on comfort. He's played every matchup that is under the sun for this Camille and give him the opportunity to have a bit more of a comfortable time in that top lane, because so far, BBP's just been running it.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he has literally just had Snoop in a chokehold for games 2 and 3 here. Barely even a factor going into the later stages of the game because of how much impact BBP had over Snoop. So I think that if there is going to be an avenue back in, and it's about shutting BBP down in that top lane, giving something that Snoop can really have impact, because we haven't really seen much of him since that game 1 even, and then he was on a tank Orns, you know, he's not really the one making all the big plays other than set up for team fights. So yeah, if that's your avenue back in, you need to take it. You can't afford to not to.
Absolutely, but as the teams discuss that ahead of Game 4, we are going to go to a break. Once we're back, we'll have that game getting ready for you. We'll see what the Outcasts can do to try and fight back. With game number 3 going the way of Rich Dynasty, we're getting ready for game 4. Match point for them. If they get one more win, they will be headed to the lower bracket finals to face the winner of our first game tomorrow. But on the other side of things, the Outcasts, they looked really good in game 1. They've had moments of brilliance in both games 2 and 3, and now we'll see if they can take us to a game 5.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing to take note of is two of your favourite bot laners are still available in the champion pool, in the Israel and the Jin, so we might see one of them coming out here in Game 4, given that we are steadily getting ourselves deeper into that champion pool. I mean, there are still other options that they could look to, and given how both bot laners have played, I would imagine Israel, Jin, probably not their favoured to bring out at this stage in the tournament, but I mean, you look at some of those strong picks gone to the top lane now, mid lane, we're starting to thin out that pool a little bit more. We will start to see, again, more of those comfort picks. Like you said, in the top lane, we might even see the likes of Fiora, Camille coming out there to try and spice things up for the side of the Outcasts. Whether it works or not, well, I mean, that's entirely up to Snoop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you can look for the last 2 games as well, it seems like Snoop, who is, again, he's very good at these duelists, these really strong side laning champions. He hasn't been on them any of our games so far. I think giving him a bit of comfort, let him have what he's used to playing, might do very well for the side of the Outcast. But draft now on your screens.
Well, I mean, Olaf, Aurora have been pretty consistently banned. Orianna usually towards the end of the first phase. But I mean, consistently we've seen Rich Dynasty now on the blue side, Outcasts on the red, giving themselves that chance at a counter pick. Hasn't netted them all too much in games 2 and 3. But maybe they've cooked something here in the 10 minutes between these games. Varus going to be banned away off the rip.
Yeah, so actually a champion that the Outcasts have been banning so far. So it's going to leave one ban open for them. So Olaf, wait, I think we have the names around the wrong way. Yes, we do. It definitely is the other way around. So
I was going to say.
Yeah, Outcasts have banned the Vi, the Varus, and the Aurora. Whereas Rich Dynasty, once again, I mean, it's all the same bans. There we go. Oh,
should be Orianna here to round it out, I imagine. No, Lucian, in fact. So Orianna going to be in play. I mean, again, in terms of the setup champions, most, if not all, are really removed.
Zin's out. The newly updated.
So, yeah.
Looks like Darius.
Look at that haircut.
To me. Whenever I see that, like,
looks like a younger Darius.
Yeah, it does, right? He has the exact same facial features of what I pictured Darius looking like. Obviously, it's the Zin's out. Same abilities, operating slightly differently. Gangplank here for BBP, a champion once again.
Okay.
This is his most played champion of all time, I do believe, so he's going to be very comfortable on it. And I'm really hoping we get to see Snoop on something as comfortable.
Ooh.
There's no way that was locked in, surely.
Teemo.
It's time for the Teemo jungle.
Oh boy. I mean, again, this is what the people have been clamoring for. They yearn for the Teemo in the jungle.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine
Much
it's just
like
going to be locked in.
the children yearn for the mines.
In theory, Teemo good into Trundle, but the blind only lasts so long, so he does go away from it. The Orianna locked in here. Once again, it's open for the first time in the series. Halo's going to be pretty happy to pick that one up. And the Ziggs possibly locked in here for Praedyth.
Yeah, I mean, the Orianna denying it away from that Trundle combo, which we've seen pretty prevalently in the LCP as well. Felios bot lane.
Yep, one of Praedyth's best champions.
I mean, one that has been a little bit absent for Apex South, unfortunately. We saw it look amazing through the mid-season into MSI, and then it just fell off a cliff.
For sure. Maybe it's going to be Raze going for the Ziggs. Should be pretty decent in terms of that lane, and it is locked in. So now we head to the second phase of bans. Still supports to be taken alongside a top laner for the Outcasts, and then will be a mid laner for Rich Dynasty. Lulu taken away that pairing with the Aphelios. Another pairing that we often see, of course, being the Thresh. We'll see if they do go towards it. It will give a nice amount of safety against the Trundle, where Aphelios doesn't deal with the pillar all that well.
Absolutely. I mean, GP. So, I mean, Outcasts know what they're going to be playing up into that top lane. So they've got a little bit of extra time to think about it. I mean, are we... Israel. Okay, so they're actually angling towards this being a Ziggs mid lane into the Orianna.
Yeah, very well could be. I mean, Orianna does okay into the longer range champs, but it certainly would be a matchup favoring the Ziggs in general. Should be very safe for him.
much in the same way as we've seen it played into this year in the past.
Yes, yeah, much the same. Now,
so I mean, realistically, I think Rich Dynasty are going to have some great engage from range.
okay, so Vladimir banned. No, Aurelia. Yeah, Aurelia banned against Snoop again while you're playing the Gangplank. Obviously has a pretty decent time into the Gangplank in general. Now, final ban to come through for the Outcasts. Will they look towards another 80 carry? Or will they just be content with the Ezreal? Lots of 80 carries have been removed due to Fearless Draft, of course, because of the two.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of what are you looking around it out with setup? I mean, a lot of the engaged supports are now gone. Down in the bot lane, Karma going to be taken away. So, again, whittling away at those Enchantress supports as well.
Yeah, this is the Karma. See what Rich Dynasty want to go towards here. Still looking to lock in at least their support, possibly 80 carry, possibly mid. Obviously with the flex of the Ziggs there, not entirely sure as to where that's going just yet.
Nami.
So it could be bot still. The Ziggs, with the empowerment that comes through from the Tidecaller's Blessing, does make the poke champions, the AP poke champions, a little bit more potent. Makes the laning phase more difficult for Praedyth, who, again, has been largely the firepower behind the Outcast alongside Halo.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of these... Look, I would imagine it's likely going to be the Thresh pairing with Aphelios. No, Blitzcrank instead. It's a similar vein, a little bit less of the security. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive in the way they're approaching. And Camille going to be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the draft of the Outcast right now. There is pretty much no one that can tank a Blitzcrank hook, so as long as any of them ever land, it should be pretty free pickings on whoever it is that gets hooked. No front line. I mean, right now, you can look towards a mid laner and look towards an 80 carry, whichever it is. They're not going to be that tanky. And so a really good find in this Blitzcrank. Now, what is actually going to be the answer?
Yeah, Silas.
Yeah, Silas and Doriana makes sense, but
yeah,
again, it is another champ that's not going to do that well at getting hit by a Blitzcrank hook. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Not the easiest game here for Rich Dynasty to pilot. This Blitzcrank could be very, very impactful if he's able to find these hooks, if he's able to consistently land onto pretty much anyone. It should be very successful. We also have Snoop on his Ultra Comfort pick in that Camille. It's something that he's exceeded on both in solo queue and also previously in the tournament. So we'll see if he has a bit of time up in that top lane against BBP's most confident pick as well in the Gangplank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you already look at the global threat coming out. Well, it's not your Talia, it's not your Pantheon, not your Galio. They can still jump, send those abilities, those ultimates down into the middle of a team fight, and suddenly it becomes a little bit harder to play. So, I mean, they do have that response. But yeah, I mean, the comfort pick of the Camille could be a real problem.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at some of the Game 3 replays before we head into game number 4 and see if ultimately Outcast can improve on them. There we go.
It wasn't like it was a bad game. They actually had a couple of really, really decent shouts in. They got some great momentum onto Praedyth, but it never went beyond the first couple of kills. And yeah, Snoop again, a really rough lane that he was playing into against BBP. That solo bolo kill onto him, and again, just consistent aggression coming through from this Rich Dynasty roster.
And this was a good look. Gavin just somehow surviving for so long. Does eventually get taken out, and it does lead to another kill as well, going the way of Praedyth, who just barely able to get away from Poltron.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not like they were playing poorly by any stretch of the imagination. Outcasts definitely feeling like they were at least in it for the first half of the game. So really, it's about making sure that their lanes don't suffer as greatly as they have, because Snoop really sort of has been left to his own devices, and as a result has suffered quite badly because of it. Halo's holding his own incredibly well. Bot lane has sort of been a bit of a 50-50. Praedyth and Clown find some success, but Raze and Gavin also finding their success back. So yeah, it's about maintaining course, steadying the ship, making sure that they come into that mid to late game on an even keel to contest this Rich Dynasty roster.
Absolutely. Again here, I mean, Praedyth's just so close, so consistently at getting that pop-off team fight, but Rich Dynasty doing such a good job of controlling him and not giving him that freedom. And once he falls behind, it's going to be a big struggle for a champion like Jinx, especially without that buffing from the likes of the Lulu behind it. Just gets jumped on once by the Neferi and taken out in quick fashion.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it 20 minutes in, and Rich Dynasty are just running all over this Outcast roster. Even Ray's in the back line was pretty much isolated on his own, and even then he's still holding with these rockets hitting as hard as they are. And then Poltron comes in flying from half the screen away to finish off that kill. I mean, again, look, Praetor jumped on.
This is
in
so
a
crazy.
4v1, Poltron still finds that kill.
Yeah, and then the fight is just an absolute wipe there and after. As the Arcane Storm just powers up more and more, and the Gravity Well as well. So perfectly placed there by Fido. Able to take some pretty quick kills.
It's going to be interesting, especially given that Snoop's now got something that he's hopefully going to look a lot better on. Unfortunately for him, he's also matching into BBP's one of his best champions as well. So realistically, it could sort of fall either way. But at this stage, for my money, at the very least, it has been Rich Dynasty who has played that macro game that much cleaner. So you got to hope that the Outcasts have tightened things up a little bit coming into Game 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're able to mimic the success they found in Game 1, of course, the early game was a little bit rough for them in that one, but really turned it around and able to find some success. Getting behind Praetor with a bit of playmaking potential was sort of the key to success they had there. Well, now he's on his ultra comfort pick as well, and this Aphelios, it's something he's always excelled at. Is he able to find that success again here? Because very quickly, Aphelios can take over. Now they are looking for something funny. Level 1, baby banana peel. Oh dear. It's fine. You get those misses out early, you won't find them later on.
It's like pancakes. The first one's always a throwaway.
That's exactly it. Unfortunately, does go wide on the hook there, meaning BBP doesn't lose anything, and a lot of vision established in this bottom side. Is, I mean, if you just think about how the last few games have gone, Captain Tofu's had a real rough time at being able to pick up all of his camps, and it looks to be exactly the same here this game. Now they will be able to try and recontest some of the control over this bot side of the map with the Blitzcrank here. Aphelios somewhat in the area.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they're pretty well aware something's going on. Clown's going to face check into it, and I mean, he might just be going down. It is a quick first blood found, and Captain Tofu, unfortunately, is going to realize that his jungle is no longer his.
By Fido, no less as well, who didn't lose a single point of HP and all of that, so he's going to be walking into lane happy as you'd like.
Yep. With Gavin sticking around, Poltron's going to be able to pick up these Raptors free of charge. Captain Tofu will unfortunately be starting exceedingly late here on his top side. Oh, the barrel game won out by BBP.
Oh, it's not a promising start at all by any stretch of the imagination. Snoop does hit 2 first, but yeah, BBP not long after gets those oranges up.
Oh! Almost feels criminal that missed. Praetor.
Yeah.
Using that Q early on. Doesn't find all that much damage. If that was Nautilus, that hook landed. Just letting everyone know.
Absolutely. Oh my lord.
Oh dear. Halo gonna get jumped on here in the mid lane, but so is Fido. Flash away for the Silas as Poltron still feeling happy to battle, but he's taking a lot of damage. Oh, we'll be able to get away. Still Halo in a rough position here.
From downtown, lord.
Even more fighting happening in the bottom side. Heavy trading going back and forth as Praetor will connect on that Q. And for the first time in the series, Captain Tofu has successfully found a fight that allowed him to take in a third, or second rather, jungle quadrant. Although Poltron is not looking so willing to give all of it over as he is heading up there. Already has himself a 1 camp lead, and if he gets this red, this Zinzao is going to be in a real tough position.
Snoop having a recall, pick up the longsword. Yeah, Poltron is just going to force Tofu off. Oh my lord.
Yeah, fight happening bottom. He's got the snare, got the hook, and Gavin's going to go down. That's a nice quick kill there in the bottom side, and exactly who you want it to be on here as Clown's looking even once more. Does find the knock up. Going to be the snare there once again here for Praetor. Oh, unfortunately hits the Q onto the minion, meaning Raze will be fine of walking himself out.
Yeah, much better shout in for sure for the Outcasts. Unfortunately for Poltron and Fido, they are very much on a reward right now.
Yeah, so looking aggressively, but unfortunately will not find all that much. Still, Captain Tofu is still just level 2. So really struggling to find anything. He will get his Krugs, which will give him level 3. But still, again, I mean, unfortunately all 4 games so far, this is exactly what's happened to Captain Tofu. BBP taking a lot of damage here. Snoop looking for an aggressive win. Does find a lot more damage. BBP with the oranges though.
Oh,
oh it's so close to heal. And the auto attack as he flashes in will only just narrowly take that 1v1. Once again, though, it is BBP with the solo kill up in top lane.
And Poltron's, of course, still in Tofu's topside jungle, so BBP knows full well that he has got plenty of time to push this wave in. Snoop already teleported back to lane. Oh, Lord, it goes from bad to worse in a heartbeat.
Well, it was a close fought affair, but unfortunately for Snoop, he does go down.
Even more unfortunately is BBP's going to be teleporting straight back up into him.
Yeah, one thing you have to worry about on this bottom side is no matter what, no matter where there's a fight, Cannon Barrage can come across the map and really swing the tides of any given battle.
Absolutely.
Still, the power of the Blitzcrank to a team composition like this.
Oh, it's scary. It's very scary.
Unfortunately, the Chiefs know all too well.
From both sides of that coin. Oh, Halo.
Halo does have phase rush. Can he proc it? Yes, he gets the flash away. Poltron's there to follow, though. He shouldn't. Oh, no, Cannon Barrage.
Oh.
Halo could have got out, except for the fact there is a gangplank. But here comes Praetor and Clown. Are they able to land the hook? Poltron, no flash. Blitzcrank Q would almost certainly result in a kill, but unfortunately, just too fast there on the Trundle. Gets himself out. And it's free time on this tower for the Ziggs.
It's the last thing you want as well. Having that satchel as well, at a certain point means that those towers are going to be going down faster than Outcasts can manage. Triple longsword again for Snoop at the top lane. This is the exact same situation he was on the Renekton.
Yeah, building towards the Triforce, of course, so we'll utilize all of them in this first item, but really wishing on a champ like Camille you were able to pick up the Sheen. Much the same as Gangplank. Only one of those two champs were able to do so, however. Halo level 6 to Fido's level 5, but there is a big minion wave for him to collect. Captain Tofu in the area, however, Poltron in the area top. Snoop does not have flash. Of course, it's very, very mobile on the Camille.
Triple longswords to triple amp times. So yeah, I can't. Oh, yeah, look, this is a bit egregious.
Hook lands on the Gabbin. Just a short trade.
Yeah.
Any of
It's
those
all right
landing?
down the bot lane.
Yeah. If Praetor's closer, dire situation potentially. Ziggs clearing out this minion wave. Poltron in the area down on the bot side, as you see. Maybe looking to start up the Dragon again. Captain Tofu nowhere to be seen. This should just be going over for free as he's desperately trying to get himself back in this with some levels, try and get some of those camps, of course, even if a fight were to break out. Most likely would be favoring the side of Rich Dynasty for now.
Although the one thing favouring Outcasts is the item stack in game 5 longswords does beat 4 amp times.
I've never seen the 3 amp tome tech. Oh, Moonlight Vigil goes wide. Does pop the Ghost though, he's really keen on this one as we'll have the Snare available, lands it onto Raze, but Raze is going to be able to flash away. Gabbin now, the next target is Clown, might just have to leave. Trundle in the area, flash away, here comes Poltron. There's an angle in. Up in the top side though, able to find that return kill. PvP taken out, no flash, does have the Cannon Barrage to answer the minion wave if Snoop doesn't even get it in.
I mean, it was close though. You look how low Snoop was there.
Oh my.
Could have been a drastic situation.
Raze has no HP. I mean, Clown has no HP, but Raze has no mana. Oh, red, white, don't fight. Praetor trying to find the damage. Raze trying to do much the same, but the Cannon Barrage is going to take down that Aphelios. They do find the kill, but unfortunately it was Clown to claim it. And despite being on 1 HP, he somehow waddles away.
Yeah, I don't know. Praetor's losing his mind a little bit. Moonlight Vigil goes wide, then he says, oh, I've already committed, so I might as well. Clown going to do the thing that LCP supports do. He might have cost him his life, unfortunately.
Possibly, but Raze might even be overstaying. If he can dodge, he does. Raze now no mana. Will get the kill with his passive, but might be going down as Captain Tofu's now in the area with the teleport. There's no way to stop it. Gets himself out, but that is a lot of tempo used. He's not going to be able to get back to this tower now.
Yeah, absolutely. But denying Tofu any more than he can get. All the while, Poltron, having seen that, says, well, this is perfect timing for me.
Yeah,
goes up, gets the grubs.
Every single objective, pretty much this entire series, Poltron's managed to find a timing to get it almost entirely uncontested. Now Snoop able to dodge away. Does he have the ult? No, he doesn't. A lot of damage coming down on a Fido. One more shot. Flash is there. And Clown trying to answer back. Won't be able to do so. And again, it's a massive minion wave going to be lost by this Camille. A dire straight for the side of Outcasts, who once again, it is match point in favor of Rich Dynasty. Now teleport coming down behind Paradith. It's Fido. He's going to be on a ward. And Paradith going to quickly realize that he's in a rough position. Going to just take the fight to Raze. Can he find it? One more auto would do it. He's just out of range. What an attempt.
Oh, that's a rough situation again. Paradith in a situation where he realistically just has to commit. Unfortunately, just a little bit too slow compared to Raze at the moment. Was not able to finish things off. The burdens of an Aphelios.
Oh, it's so close. Unfortunately, so far. Still, you're seeing some of the damage that Aphelios can do. Snoop, he's on his holy crusade into the jungle of Poltron. Looking for a gank mid. Has that Hextech ultimatum. Can lock someone down. Halo with that command shockwave.
Fido has it as well, but for not all that much longer.
Unfortunately, Snoop walked over a ward to get there, so it's completely known. Now he returns to the top lane to collect his wave as Gavin just out of range there of that Blitzcrank hook. Captain Tofu now looking for an angle in the top lane. We'll be going over a ward here, so BBP can just run back to his tower.
Yeah, has the phage as well, so just procs it on the barrel. Going to be running pretty darn quick. Paradith again target. Oh, the damage.
Oh, it gets hit. Oh my lord, the bouncy castle. Clown will come down, land a hook, and might even return a kill onto Gavin, and does do so. No assist even. At least finds one back.
At its peak.
But unfortunately, I mean, just look how much damage this tower is taking. It's another minion wave that Paradith's not going to be able to collect. Poltron's here to try and collect a kill onto Clown, but much the same as Captain Tofu. Hook, ooh, just out of range again.
And this is going to be tower going down, so, I mean, that is Noxian blessings claimed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well and truly. Man shockwave now picked up by Fido. Poltron here. Phase rush available for Halo, so he is able to still run away from that pillar. As all three members that were in the mid lane head out to the Fog of War on the top side. Fido just to look for a recall, and Poltron to once again look to punish Captain Tofu, who now actually somehow managed to get himself an XP lead. Considering how the game started, he's done relatively well, but Snoop going to be looked at again. This time does have the ultimate available for himself, and this time the rest of the team is here. Hook lands on a Poltron, and he is a dead man walking as the shockwave will finish the job. Snoop able to get himself that kill credit, but Raze here pops down the satchel. Clown having to run desperately back. It's a second tower claimed, and Fido's going to get a lot of lone time in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, Halo, again, proving he's a very solid laner.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I mean, Halo using his flash, it doesn't feel all that realistic that you're taking down the Silas, considering everything available. No ultimate as well. Fido trying to take it back and going back in. He is going to go down. Flash, I mean, interesting decision. Nonetheless, Paradith misses out on that ultimate, so PvP now, one barrel would almost certainly take down this Aphelios as he didn't get that health back from Moonlight Vigil.
Oh, it was so close too. Raze is looking for it.
Yeah, he is in the area. Ward goes down. He's going to be able to find Paradith. He's over the wall. Can Paradith find the damage? It's so close. Red, white, one more auto might do it. The flash and the shutdown. Captain Tofu will be getting taken out, but Paradith gets himself the shutdown onto Raze. Smite goes down, but Clown, he can continue walking on out as well. And man, oh man, what a back and forward bloody affair. This is Oceanic at its finest.
Raze, unfortunately, receiving a bit of an ego check there. Oh, Snoop might be receiving the same.
Snoop, relatively strong. Has that Triforce online now, but he's just going to choose to back away. There's nothing really to gain from fighting, so. All the while, second dragon will be picked up again here by the side of Rich Dynasty, just doing so well in terms of that objective control. And unfortunately, while the game stays mean, I'd say relatively close, but the 3k gold lead isn't really that close. But competitive, I suppose. As you see, 80 carry, importantly, are even in gold as much as the mid lane. It's really in the jungle and top that the side of Rich Dynasty are winning out pretty heavily. Still, hook lands, this time onto Fido. He does have the Hextech ultimatum, so he goes unstoppable, and Praetor, taking so much damage, is maybe going to burn away here. Subjugate used on him, one more tick would do it. Oh, narrowly gets free.
All the while, Halo will be down in that bot lane, takes himself a tier 1 for his troubles. So, I mean, look, the worst for sure. The fact that Praetor gets out, I think, is very, very big. Unfortunately, they are going to lose out on this mid tier 1, as well as that Herald as well.
Lethality Aphelios this game.
I mean, Varus was banned, I suppose.
An interesting decision.
Far
Halo
from
and
the
Fido
same.
fighting down the bot side. Shimon Shockwave, nice flash from Fido. Hextech ultimatum here. Snoop does make it in time, but he is very late to the fight. Now Dragon, still 3.5 minutes away. There's a ping going down onto it, but that's not going to be an issue. This will.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's a bleak look. Every objective in the game, every tower just being completely crumbled. So much gold going towards this Gangplank, who might even just have his second item, the Collector, online once he looks for this recall after taking that inner tower. One stack left on the cull, unfortunately.
So.
Not quite.
No, not quite. If he'd had the cull finished, maybe he's got the. Maybe he'd had the crit cloak as well, but down 1 million.
So far ahead in this top lane. 2.5k gold, just to him alone, which is the most part of the lead they have.
Absolutely.
Find a nice shutdown onto this Gangplank. Find a nice angle, take him out. Fight becomes a lot easier to play, but I mean, playing Aphelios into the Ziggs, into the Gangplank is never going to be easy. Having that uptime is going to be hard to find for Praetor.
Yeah, I think your big win condition for the Outcasts has to be Halo and Praetor at this stage. Less so Praetor than Halo, given how good the game's been going for him. Given how good the series has been going for Halo.
Yeah, I mean, they also have the combination, right? Chuck a ball on top of Camille, going to lock down someone. There's no way they can avoid it. Even Flash doesn't get them out of that. So identifying who they want to go for and pulling the trigger on it, if they can start the fight off as a 4v5, especially if you manage to take down this Gangplank early, it could be a winnable fight for them, but it's certainly not going to be easy. Now, 2 minutes still until this Dragon, so not under too much threat for now, but Poltron's going to drop down this Herald. It's only Snoop down here. Praetor should deploy down the bot lane, try and defend this inner tower. It would be the 5th tower of the game to just the 1 for the Outcast.
17.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
Fido goes forward, takes a bit of damage, and Snoop goes back in. He's going to use the Hextech ultimatum, knocked up and absolutely annihilated. Those barrels doing so much damage. Knock up lands. That's 3 quick kills. This is going to be 4 potentially. Clown does flash away, and he finds a relatively good hook. That's a 2-man ult. Fido will go down, but it's still 4 members strong as the inhib's going to fall.
I mean, are they likely? Look, it seems to go.
Yeah, gets another crash down. We'll be able to take down that Rift Shield now as Clown and Halo, all that's left. Flash forward for BBP, but there is the CRF Shield still available for Halo. Now 4 members still crashing down on this base. Praetor spawning in just 5 seconds. Does have the access to the Moonlight Vigil, but with the Nexus Tower cracked, Snoop desperately trying to find a way and try and stop them from recalling. Shutdowns here would be so important, but it doesn't look all that conceivable that they find them. Rich Dynasty just running away. Ray's
And my friend Ray
is going to get stopped.
Oh my lord.
Heaven Tofu finds his way onto him. Does have... Oh, dearie me. Cloud now. He's out of position. No one really in the area. Praetor trying to get there. Moonlight Vigil does get dropped. Does he flash over the wall? Yes, he does. But he's stuck by the pillar. 1 kill here onto BBP. Can he find another onto Voltron? No, the flash is there for the Trundle. Gets himself away. It is some much needed gold, but all the while, Fido pushing in these top waves. It's a slight alleviation of pressure, but a 7k gold advantage. Still just so far ahead, Rich Dynasty.
Living up to the name indeed. Oh, how is Snoop gone from triple longsword right back to triple longsword? This guy is just not having a grand time.
Oh, Halo doing so much damage. I mean, playing exceedingly well, but unfortunately, the map falling apart around him. Still, Praedyth, he's going to solo out this dragon. Not likely that Poltron can make it there in time. Oh, he has.
Not again.
Dear. Looking for the kill even before the dragon gets taken out. It's Raze that secures it, gets the kill at the same time.
Oh, shambolic. Okay, so double collectors.
Fight breaking out. Poltron straight onto Halo. Poltron, unfortunately, in a pretty rough position. Should be getting taken out, but still, the shutdown will be picked up. And yeah, double collector Aphelios is what is being built. Unless that's turning into an IE and he just has an extra Dirk. It's what I hope it is.
I mean, maybe Edge of Night to spell shield and then IE. Look, I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of Praedyth's mind.
We'll find out, but we might not, as this mid lane inhib and the, inhib tower and the inhib possibly might go down. Captain Tofu coming in the back, really nice ultimate. He's going to dodge a lot of that damage. They're going to find one kill. Raze so low, and Praedyth takes it. Hook lands! Great find, but unfortunately the shockwave will not, as Phyto able to flash away.
Well, I think this should tell us what Praedyth and the Observer knows too. Praedyth, what's the game plan? What is the go? What is the tech?
Please tell me.
Okay, so it is IE.
Okay, it's just the Dirk there. I had to assume so, but you never know.
I would. Clown. Clown, buddy.
Oh, fancy feet. Gets himself away from the chain, but Fido's still on the hot pursuit. Snoop here. Are they going to be able to look for a fight? No, not likely. Outcasts should be picked up now by Rich Dynasty. Very well and truly ahead, and most likely going to be able to take the series.
Yeah, I think it comes off the back of Halo. Make it a huge play. And, look, okay. Serrated Dirk into the IE. He had us for a moment. Outcasts picked up there by Rich Dynasty. They are well ahead at the moment. There you go, IE finished and boots.
Reasonably strong. Raze doesn't have flash. There's going to be a teleport up here to answer. This is going to be BBP coming down, looking for an aggressive fight. They find a lot of damage, and that's him gone immediately. Captain Tofu going to be able to pull the trigger on that ultimate, but one more auto attack. BBP going to go down. That's two kills. I mean, while this game is in a rough position, they are finding gold back. 7k is the lead still for Rich Dynasty, and every objective in favor of them, but still fighting for their lives here, for their OPQ lives. Nonetheless, the Outcasts, as Fido will dash away. Protobelt saving him on this occasion. Praedyth staying in fog this entire time. Possibly trying to tempt in a fight.
Smart, honestly.
Poltron coming in. It's a 3v3 at best. There's no teleports to come and join. Praedyth still biding his time, waiting for cooldowns to be used. He's popping the goes, but he doesn't find the Q. Yes, he does. Eventually finds it onto Gavin. Able to drop down. Some damage here. The tower's hitting. Fido flashes forward, misses completely, but Poltron's onto Praedyth. Does take the kill there. Snoop able to take down Gavin as Poltron left all to his own devices. 1v3 is going to be taken out, and it's another win going the way of the Outcasts.
Inferno Bomb is Ray. No, he's not going to send it, surely.
Maybe able to do so. Snoop has to be careful here. Bomb does go down. Halo able to shield out a large amount of the damage. Still has the Seraph shield available to himself. As Raze has been caught out in the river. A nice shockwave onto BBP, finding a lot of damage. Snoop does get taken out. That barrel explosion so strong. And an ace for the Outcasts. Clown unfortunately left to try and defend this tower. And unfortunately the minions most likely going to win this occasion. So it's another inhibitor
Raze
broken.
Just finished Medjai's as well. That's a rough time to go down. Holds the wave though. I mean, realistically, Praedyth is going to find immense value out of all this CS that he's mopping up.
Yeah, I mean, gold lead is closing from a game that was almost over at the 20-minute mark, or even the 17-minute mark. Has somewhat come back.
Mind, Halo's thrown.
Yeah, Fido finds the kill up on the top side.
Don't know what he's thinking there, sticking around. I mean, he's just had a huge amount of gold injected to him. He's, in fact, so much so that he goes back to base and finishes Rabadon off that death.
It's fine. Not much going to happen in the near future In any case, he does have teleport as well. 15 seconds until that dragon. He's going to be a little bit delayed on joining it, but Fido as well does not have teleport for himself. So you see him walking down that top river, coming into that mid wave, getting the priority around it. Praetor and the rest of the team are not going to even dream of contesting. It's going to be the Soul going over. Chemtech Soul, which I think is why they don't really mind giving it over for free. It is the weakest of the Dragon Souls, but still a massive pickup nonetheless for Rich Dynasty. Is the next logical objective in 15 seconds is that Baron. You see them heading up there immediately.
Yeah. The most prolific of the APAC South Dragons as well. I'd have to double check the other sub-regions, but at least in the LCP we've seen more than our fair share of it.
Yeah. Between the best and the worst, it's been Chemtech and Cloud Soul. Our most prevalent is Clown. They're going to take a lot of damage there. Is going to be able to land the hook onto Gavin, but Praetor not able to find any access to the team fight. Does just take a massive chunk of damage from that Ziggs ult. Snoop now teleporting into the fight. Not going to be able to find any way in as Praetor, again, just so low. Not really a viable opportunity for him to contest. Doesn't have summoners either. Uses the flash in that instance. Down will go the blue trinket. They're very well aware of this going on now as Snoop takes so much damage from these bombs. Finds his way onto Raze though. There is no follow-up though. Pulls it. Oh dear. Does pull the trigger on the ultimate, but gets taken out immediately thereafter. Captain Tofu now finding his way in. Moonlight Vigil coming down. Unfortunately not going to find all that much value. Fido does get taken out. Double kill going over to Fido just as he does, however, as Halo and Praetor for all that stand between this rampaging Rich Dynasty and the end of the game.
Down the bot lane, BBP.
Yeah, teleport there. Clown left alone in the bottom lane to try and defend. There is 20 seconds still Snoop, and there's no way for Praetor and Halo to get back to that base. Teleport being channeled. Halo, can he make it out? Yes! They're able to defend. Praetor is going to go down, however, as Clown does much the same.
Oh, poor Blitzcrank. And there you go. Praetor falls.
Still delaying a bit of time.
This game has looked like there has been an opportunity time and time again for the Outcasts to come back. That door is just immediately slammed right in their faces.
Sure. Mid lane inhib's going to fall. The bot lane inhib not too far off coming back up, and they really need Praetor to be back up and available. 20 seconds until this Aphelios is up. Looks like Rich Dynasty aren't looking to pressure any further. Are just going to take the recalls and head back out. They're going to have a reasonable amount of time. 2 more minutes left on the Baron to try and crack open the base. The top side, of course, is the only tower left between them and the Nexus.
Oh, lordy. I mean, the one saving grace is that Halo is having a phenomenal game. And in fact, he's second overall in terms of gold value. No, actually, is just overtaken BBP there.
That's very rich. I don't know if Clown wanted that considering how far away Praetor is. But now coming to join his team. So strong. His Rich Dynasty. 3 items now for Praetor though. Good chunk of damage.
Yeah, so the Serrated Dirk now has the LDR. So they are actually hitting reasonably hard if they can find the opening.
Raze even. Just taking so much damage off the splash there. Snoop clearing out the mid wave. 1 minute left on this Baron. You see everyone up on this top side of Poltron taking so much damage. I mean, if Praetor gets the uptime, the damage is there. It's just very difficult between the Gangplank and the Ziggs to find that. Clown walking forward, threatening a hook. It's going to allow passage for Praetor to take out the last of that minion wave. So a next wave is going to be required to hope to take down this tower. Halo level 17. The strongest champion in this game. He's 4 items. 1 ult could be the difference maker. It could buy so much more time. It could buy potential passage into victory. The hook lands here from Clown, and Poltron's going to take a lot of damage. Oh dear. Praetor for another auto attack there. Oh, in goes Captain Tofu, not able to find all that much for now. Command Shockwave still available. Tofu's going to get taken out. Hook lands, flash away from Baby Banana Peel. Down goes Captain Tofu. Down will go Fido. It's a 4v4 now, but low health bars across the board here for the side of the Outcast. Praetor coming back out on the map. Has some good guns, but not the good ultimate as it is down on the cooldown. Halo taken so low. Command Shockwave down. All inhibs now bursted open after Poltron makes his way down to the bottom lane.
Oh dear.
Clown,
this is a
not
bleak.
gonna land. 4 members strong for both teams. Snoop's in there, but not able to find the damage. Praetor is so low. Raze just has his number. Poltron desperately finding his way into Aphelios. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Snoop able to get out there. And Halo, being that difference maker, doesn't have the ult, but does have the damage. Back to the fountain now for everyone, barring Halo. Minion wave still crashing in, but Rich Dynasty are going to have to hedge their bets and leave the base of the Outcasts. They live just another time.
A minute 20 to Elder. Not a single lane that is just not decimated. Unfortunately, this may just be one of those death by 1,000 cuts type situation. Wait till Elder comes up, gamble for the fight. If they gamble with the fight, TP into the base, all that seals the deal.
Yeah, Elder Dragon all but certainly will be the end of the game. I think the only real option is to try and clear the minions. Pretty much send Captain Tofu and look for a potential smite steal, but even that feels like it's a rough thing to try and attempt for, as there is just so many tools to try and keep them out.
TP ward.
There is that TP ward, of course. The minion's going to need to be there as well. Snoop's going to head out to try and match Fido on the top side.
Oh, it is an overwhelming position, and one that would be few and far between that we see in competitive League of Legends that turns about. Ooh, okay, Halo sitting.
I mean, yeah, you're really relying on
they're just going to bypass them.
Yeah, they're just running in. Captain Tofu may be able to find passage in the back line. They're trying to crash in these minion waves. Snoop's there. The rest of the Outcasts are not, however. Captain Tofu's gone in! Oh. And that is almost a one-shot, but it's only onto the Nami. Halo desperately trying to kite away. Down will go Clown, down will go Snoop, down will go Tofu. Halo's going to be the next to fall, and as good as Praetor is, he will not be 1v5ing. This is going to be Game 3, or Game 4, and series, going the way of Rich Dynasty, as they will head to our lower bracket finals.
That was, I mean, it looked like it was a really good shut-in for the Outcasts, unfortunately, but no, just not able to find the angle that they needed with the command shockwave. All they really got was Gavin, and that is not their damage source at all.
Yeah, quick reaction times there from Raze, gets them clear of the shockwave, and as soon as that happens, the fight feels pretty impossible to win. So that is going to be Rich Dynasty in 4. Going to the lower bracket finals. Of course, tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock, we will find out who it is going to be going up against them. But at least for this game in particular, I mean, this series in particular, the takeaways for me, very dominant on that macro, very dominant in terms of the objective control. Poltron exactly where he needs to be, so consistently able to find everything he needs and more. And eventually that really was just the tipping point. What was so overwhelming for the Outcasts?
Yeah, I mean, the big problem, at least for me, for Rich Dynasty, is they suffer similarly to PSG Talent, which is that their drafting can sometimes let them down a little bit. For the most part, they absolutely lock it down in games 2 through 4, but I mean, their first game, they gambled on some picks that didn't quite land the way that they wanted to. If they can get the picks that they're looking good on, this is a very, very scary team, so I think they're quite happy to take on whoever they end up facing in that lower bracket final, but it also wasn't without some overstepping and some greed. So look, they are looking on par to make that grand finals. They just got a couple of things to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the side of the Outcasts, I mean, this is a team that has Halo and Praetor, who have played competitively in both the LCO and also the OPL, and you know, very experienced players, absolutely. And the rest of the team, very new to competitive. I mean, they are, you know, they play in Challenger, they're very good at what they do, but when it comes to that competitive sort of outlook, when you're trying to find these macro plays, it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more coordination required than when you are in the solo queue environment. So I think an admirable job to have gone from what was 19, 20 teams, 19 I think, to now 4. The top 4 they finish. I think an admirable job by them, and realistically they can leave pretty happily knowing that they performed as well as they did. Yes, they fell to Rich Dynasty, but again, they have Raze, who is one of the best AD carries OS has ever seen. They have Poltron, who is just very good at macro. I mean, he was, you know, in the LCP for a reason. It wasn't without virtue that he was there. And then, of course, Fido, who, again, in the mid lane, very, very dominant. I mean, he won the LCO in its very last split, in its very last year. These are all very good players with a lot of experience in competitive. It is, you know, you shouldn't be upset about losing to them. Of course, there are going to be bad feelings, but in general, they're always backs against the wall in this matchup, and I think they did very well.
I mean, look, the one biggest takeaway, we're seeing teams of this caliber and looking good as they are, it makes you really hope that, especially going into 2026, we see that this sort of competition extended out. It isn't just sort of like a one qualifier tournament. We see the OPL or OCL or OCS or LCO, now OPQ, all of our abbreviations culminating in again, that grassroots, not even necessarily grassroots, but that opportunity to showcase what OCE really is capable of domestically, because for the longest time, as a League of Legends fan, OCE has just been such a joy to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, sort of to what you're saying, is I hope that these teams that, fell short, they're less experienced, they haven't had the opportunity to compete just because of what, Oceanic has been like. I really hope they're able to stay together, of course, focusing on other aspects of life, but compete, scrim against people, continue to improve, because something like this is always going to be around. Every year there's going to be a tournament like this, maybe, even a league for the Oceanian region that you'd want to hope to see them compete in, because there are truly some really good names out there, some real talented young people in our region that have that desire to compete, that aren't currently competing. And I think this tournament more than ever has displayed that, because while a lot of the games haven't been streamed, I mean, you guys have seen the highlights on our pre-show, there are some very good players that made it so far in this tournament, that have gone up against some very, very big names and have really made a name for themselves as well. So I hope to see everyone, including the Outcasts that do get eliminated from this tournament, continue to try and grow either as a team or as an individual to compete in further tournaments, next year or later on in this year, wherever they may be.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen just how far Oceanic players can go. I mean, you look at the likes of FBI playing over in North America. I mean, we've had Dynasty headed to Europe. He's now back, of course, but I mean, there is just no end of possibilities for Oceanic players internationally, and all it requires is that one chance, that one opportunity to showcase what you are capable of, and it starts here. It starts at home in Oceania with tournaments like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tomorrow, I mean, kicking us off for tomorrow, we're going to have another matchup. That's the upper bracket finals that we start off with tomorrow, and it will be followed by the lower bracket finals. So both of those series in one day. Potentially 10 games of casting, which always is going to be a marathon run. But to kick us off, I mean, out of those two teams, so Polar Cheer, they have 3 former LCO players, very, very talented players. And honestly, they've been so dominant throughout the duration of this tournament. Ultimately, they 2-0'd Rich Dynasty earlier on in the tournament, which is how they have sort of arrived at the position they have. And they're going up against Saving O's, which has, I mean, our rank 1 player, Kyose, playing in that mid lane. They have Violet, who of course went over to the LCP and performed very admirably in that AD carry position, which for my money is the strongest position in the league. It's going to be a really tough matchup because, again, in terms of the coordination, when I look at Polichia, when I watch their games, very, very coordinated. They're having fun. They're making jokes about each other. They're still performing very well. Saving O's, they have the experience. They have the players that just raw hands gap pretty much everyone they go up against each other. And so I don't know who to sort of expect to win that one. I would predict Polichia, honestly, just because of how good they've looked as a unit. Because individually, I mean, it's hard to argue against Saving O's. They've got the individual players of the region. But it's not just an individualistic game. You have to be on the same sort of wavelength as all your team members. But either way, I think it's going to be a tough battle for Rich Dynasty to go up against either of them. And at least for my money, from this game that they played today versus when they played it against Polichia earlier, they have grown a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is one of those unfortunate situations when a tournament has the lifespan that this sort of one does, is you have to get with the program very, very quickly. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself knocked out early on. And yeah, I mean, Rich Dynasty have shown that they have the capacity to play some really, really solid League of Legends. And like you said, Polichia looking amazing, Saving O's looking amazing. But look, we can only know when we get there tomorrow, of course. And it has been said to death. Anyone can show up and have a good day, but the opposite is also true. You can show up and have a bad day. So they're going to have to hope they get some sleep, make sure that they're well fed, well hydrated, because, I mean, it could be a long day for someone. Look, potentially 10 games, and one team will have to go back-to-back in those series.
Yeah, I would hate to be the team that ends up losing the upper bracket final, go to the lower bracket, and then have to play another potentially 5 games or however many games ends up happening. Now, I'm going to have a quick request to the voices in my head to get an update on what is going on, if I could get that update. Oh, I've been told that it's time to wrap it up. So, thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. Again, 8 p.m. tomorrow, we will have the upper bracket finals going on. It's Saving O's going up against Polichia. It's some very, very well-known players in our region. I can't wait to see you all there, and thank you once again for joining us today.